Let's just have silence this morning.
Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Anman, your host for the next few hours, along with Mike.
Hello.
Good morning. And Spence is here.
Where are we again?
Right here.
Right here?
Same
Bruce
time,
is
same
here.
bat station.
I was a little confused.
Hello, Bruce.
Bon appetit.
Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K voice on Skype. And today's show is being brought to you by that Webmaster guy, Tom Sinclair, and made available and possible by Bamboozer. And I'm hoping Bamboozer is better today.
Were they bad? Were they bad yesterday?
They've been kind of iffy all week long. I did send them an email and ask if we were being throttled or are they having a problem. I said, just wondering. And he said, no, we were having some problems with our ISP and it's getting better. So I can assure you we're not throttling you back. So
Just ignore it and it will go away.
sort of. But it was so bad that some people on, I can't remember what it was, I think it was Debbie's show or Marilyn's, couldn't even watch any of the other CDNs, like Vaughn or Daily Motion. I actually added an audio-only link down there for those that cannot get anything. But if this doesn't work for you, just try one of the other ones. All right.
It sounds like the audio is a little off today.
It's a little off.
Yeah, I mean it's on my hearing, and normally the audio is very good, and I'm like toll quality audio. It's not
Doesn't count. It's whatever Mike says about audio.
You're listening through Skype or through the stream?
Skype.
Sounds good here. Yours is a little overmodulated.
Yeah, you were a little bit on the high side, Spence.
I don't want to be overmodulated.
Well, I mean, just
is that like overexposed?
Just like it, only different.
Exactly.
I mean, too much media coverage is a bad thing.
All right. Another week.
In the can, as they say.
Yeah. I'm still, as far as I'm concerned, we are getting out and it is looking okay. I had, for those of you, I had to upgrade Skype. And last time we did it, it kind of messed things up. But it seems like it's doing all right now. Other than the fact that it's using a lot of CPU. What's going on?
So have you heard about all the kerfluffle about YouTube's new commenting system and Google Plus?
No.
Okay.
Tell us.
Okay, well, it has been a battle royale on Google Plus and YouTube in that community. So, first of all, in order to post a comment on a YouTube video now, you have to have a Google Plus account, and they're cross-pollinating comments. So, if somebody shares a YouTube video in Google Plus, I'm not sure if this works on Facebook or not, but if somebody shares a YouTube video, as they often will in Google Plus, and you comment on it, your comments on that video are also shown in the comments on the video's location in YouTube. And some people have made some comments from Google Plus, and YouTubers saw it, and it just jumped all over it. They're upset. It's going to be a real challenge to bring these two cultures together. There's a lot of, shall we say, profane trolls in the YouTuber community, and it's just some people are saying they're not sure if this is going to work or not. A lot of people are saying let's write it out for 30 days and see what happens. But this is like it's anyway. If you Google it and follow it, it's getting a lot of news. We've discussed it on 2 or 3 shows that I've been a part of this week at length, and people are taking strong stands on both sides. So, just to let you know, now there is a little more power now for content creators now with some of the Google Plus controls to clean up. But some people are just not all that excited about babysitting a bunch of immature YouTuber comments.
Can you blame them?
No. But I'm one who says let's give peace a chance. All we are saying.
Yep. Let's see who just called in. Hello.
Hello. Hey, can you hear me, Armin?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Dan Ortego.
Oh, hey, how are you, Dan?
Good. I was just listening to your comments regarding the connections.
Dan, you need to lower the volume on the web so you don't try to listen to yourself twice.
Okay. Let's see. Trying to figure out how to do that. I
Right,
just turned the
right.
bottom off on the slider for the show.
Right on the bottom right of the video, it says menu, and then there is a volume to the right of
It's
it.
off. It's off.
All the
How
way
about now?
down. All the way down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I was listening to your comments regarding the connections, and something that I've noticed over the last several weeks on the show is that I only get one shot at signing into the chat section, and if I lose the page or your show locks up, and I try to...
That's correct. That's the way that chat is working. The way to do this is why would you lose the page? I don't know, but if the way...
I lose the ability to log in with a message chosen nickname is not allowed.
Right, because
So you only get one chance as a viewer to log into the chat section. If you go off that page or for whatever reason I've even closed Chrome and Safari, come back on. That's it for the rest of the show.
That is for well, it's not completely the rest of the show, but it's for a couple of hours. That's the way it works because it doesn't know that you left. So it says, you're still here.
Got it.
So at that point, you'll have to put like Dan 1 or Dan 2. But the way, I restart the page or whatever. So what I do is I open another tab. And it doesn't matter where that other tab is. As long as you have another tab open in your browser, if you restart the page, reload the page, do whatever, you're not going to lose it.
Okay, well, I tried different names thinking that as well, and it doesn't work. Like I said, I've even shut down Chrome and waited a few minutes, log back on. I still have you here in live, of course, for voice, but no longer in text. So I'm not sure why that happens.
Are you saying you're not seeing the chat anymore?
No, the chat's there. You know,
What did you
choose a nickname.
Dan,
you put in a nickname.
Dan,
and then
hold
it
on.
comes
Dan.
immediately back saying, please enter your nickname in orange with a red text, and or it'll say nickname not allowed or something to that effect.
Dan, you were just saying something. I've got you here in voice, but not in text. What did you mean by that?
In the the right hand section of the Computers 2K
Okay.
Now website, you have Computers 2K Now,
Okay,
and you have
so
where everybody types in, hey, how you doing? Yes, I agree with that. Yada yada.
So are you saying that at this point it's asking you to enter a nickname again?
Yeah, it says please enter a nickname, and I could put in anything, and it won't accept it. I'll say nickname not allowed. I'll put in Dan one as you mentioned. Send, boom, and right now it's just not doing anything. It just says please enter a nickname. It goes. It's just in a circle.
I have no idea why it's doing that to you.
I tried two different browsers. I am running a Mac, so maybe that's the problem. I don't know.
Well, I don't
There
know.
you go.
Oh no.
Did this ever happen to anybody else? If anybody on the see, everybody said just change your name slightly.
Yeah.
And that's
I only commented because you were talking about connections and this and that, because it always seems like the shows start out with pointing out anomalies with bit blast or whatever bamboozler or whatever is going on that affects the connections of the show. And I said, well, I wonder what this is, But
no,
like I
that's
you get one shot. I only get one shot to log into the chat section, and in the past, after a while, I just give up and just listen to the show.
all right. Well, I mean, I don't know, but it seems like this is not the situation with everybody. So I don't know what to do about it. I'm going to leave things
Dan,
alone because
let me give you a couple of suggestions. The first is that when you get into chat, if you look at the bottom of the page, there's a button that says Pop Out Chat.
Right.
If you pop that out, you can do other things, move to other pages, and you're not going to disturb the chat window. The second thing is that if you find it necessary to shut down or reboot or go to another computer, if you will type /exit in the comment box before you do so, that forces the software to release your username. Other than that, it gets confused sometimes.
Okay, I got it. That /exit. Okay.
Yeah. It also helps if you just sing a few bars of "Please release me, let me go."
So is that really a Skype sort of thing or something else?
What?
Is that a Skype anomaly or something else?
That has nothing to do with Skype. That's what I was trying to explain to you also. The chat is running on our server in Raleigh. Bamboozler is in Europe. Those two windows side by side have nothing to do with each other.
Okay, got it. Oh, all right.
And the chat uses a
helps too. All right.
persistent session, which means that
Right.
once you set up your name in there, it holds on to the session, and that's why you can't go in and use that again, because it says, no, you're already logged on.
Okay. Got
Okay.
it. All right.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Sure, Dan.
Thanks.
Take care, man.
Bye now.
Interesting. I never heard that before.
What?
That it doesn't
particular
let
problem?
you. That it doesn't let you log in with a different name.
That's a feature.
Yeah, that's a feature.
Now I'm having a problem.
What?
My Delta 1010 LT card, which has 5 stereo pairs send and receive, the pair that I use to send the audio back to Skype is on line 3-4. 4 times today, it has, on the computer at Windows level, has set itself to 0. I'm sitting here talking and nobody's hearing anything. The only channel that's doing that so far is 3-4, which is the main channel.
And it just switches on its own.
I can't find a reason why it's doing it.
Is it? I mean, you know about those cards. Is the card intelligent enough to see that if there's no?
Oh, I don't know. No. It's the card's got nothing to do with it. If it's either Windows or the drivers. The
One or the other.
It's not the card.
I see that comment in the chat. Brent is saying, I'd hate to see Dan trying to log into Obamacare website.
Well, in that case, if someone's already logged in as him, it's a scam. It's not really.
Boy. Oh,
Maybe
Did you
they're
see-
planning to buy health insurance for him.
Did you see there was a story I saw yesterday? It said that one person has enrolled through the North Carolina exchanges and he hasn't paid yet.
what do you think?
It's
What do you
free,
mean?
isn't it?
I thought that North Carolina did not set up exchanges.
No, it's a federal exchange.
Yeah, okay.
Federal
It's done
exchange.
by, but it's still the North Carolina exchange. One
thought it was
person
free.
is signed up.
Well,
Is that enough to defray the cost for everybody else? One person?
Yeah,
He just
sure.
his premiums are going to be
As long as
only
he's young.
$9 billion. That's all.
Yeah. Trillion.
918-978-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. Now, here, we're talking about Skype. So one of the news items here is if you've recently fired up Skype, you may have noticed a dialog box with a warning appear briefly, at least on OS 10, then vanish. If you're fast enough to catch it, you'll find that it's warning you that some application you're using that works with Skype will stop working in December 2013. This applies to all sorts of software supporting headsets, cameras, you name it. The cause of this annoyance is that Microsoft, in its infinite wisdom, has decided that Skype Desktop API is to be retired because it doesn't support mobile applications development. And, he's quoting Microsoft, we've been working hard to develop new technologies and make improvements that will benefit Skype users across all platforms, especially on mobile devices. These changes will significantly improve the call quality and speed of delivery of instant messages while retaining excellent battery life of mobile devices.
Excellent.
The only type of device that Microsoft has anything to say about is headsets on which audio will still work, though not their call control buttons. But that's not the only device type to worry about. What about cameras? He says, I have a Logitech Broadcaster Wi-Fi webcam. I reviewed this product last April, and that's what Skype is warning. Yes.
What is the date of that article?
It's from last week.
Okay. They've changed their mind.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, this is from last week.
But it did create a great uproar.
I mean, can you
You
imagine
know what that
you're-
means? This is one of those trial balloons. They float out there to see what the reaction is.
Yeah.
And then when
It'll
they-
still happen.
Oh, it'll still happen. It's just they'll just going to have a different story around it.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear you said that. Good. Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome.
Did you hear that this is not a really great shot? It's the best one I can find. This is they say now that on these Google barges they're going to have sails on them. This is an artist rendering of what it will look like. So you'll have these sails to make it look, I guess, more palatable, surrounding these shipping containers that are on these barges, where you can supposedly, according to Google this week, have an interactive experience. So, sails
Is that
on
like
the barge.
Cleopatra's barge?
It could be.
And why are
Decadence
they doing
and,
this again?
Well, I think this is probably just an aesthetic type thing as far as
Why
the
are they
barge.
why are they putting servers on barges?
Tax write-off.
No, that would not be American. That would be unpatriotic.
I heard at first one of the speculations about it was an entertainment barge to woo customers, but
Sales.
Well, they got plenty of those in Las Vegas already and in
Yes.
New Orleans.
yeah, but they could go out past the legal limit of the continental United States and do whatever the hell they want.
Well, their public statement this week is that these barges are, quote, an interactive space where people can learn about new technology. That's pretty vague, though.
Why? Think about how much more expensive it is to put it on a barge than it is to just put it in a building.
Oh, they don't care about that.
Oh, I realize.
I thought you drove to Best Buy to get that kind of interactive experience.
Radio Shack.
Radio Shack. There you go.
Rob wants to know what kind of mobile operating system that Amnon and Spence are using.
What kind of what?
Which phone do you have?
Android.
Oh, I have an Apple iPhone 4, which I'm probably going to upgrade.
To what?
A 5C.
Why C instead of S?
Money, cost.
Okay.
And the S doesn't really have anything. The fingerprint reader I don't care about. And the 5C is based on the 5. And really, I'm just missing out on, I don't even have a 4S, so I'm just missing out on things like Siri and just things that require faster processor. And I can get it almost for free with some coupon deals that they have going on now.
Rob, I think Amnon's running a Trio.
No, Amnon is running a Droid 2.
I have a couple of old Blackberries you're welcome to.
The only thing I read about BlackBerry this week is that somebody bought their Messenger. There's apparently something really great about BlackBerry Messenger. I think it's the iPhone, maybe. I can't remember. But somebody's going to use their Messenger program, BBM.
I'll tell you, Google on the ball, and as they promised, has now rolled out a new version of the Hangout app that now handles SMS. So I've been testing it since I installed it, I think about Wednesday. And I've been doing all my SMS messaging using the Hangout app now, and it's working quite well.
How do you get the app?
Well, if you have an Android phone, you'll get an update. I went out and found the APK and side loaded it rather than wait for, because some of these apps are rolled out at different times to different people. They don't do it all at one time.
Yeah, I know. By the time they roll it out, all the good stuff is gone for the rest of us commoners. I finally got an offer for my vanity URL, so it would be Mike Phillips plus about 98 digits if I want. Thank you.
You couldn't get just Mike Phillips?
No, that was gone. Can you believe it?
Yeah. Yeah, I was able to get Bruce Turner, so.
Well, I know, but you're into it, and you got people pulling strings for you.
Hey, Bruce, when you upgraded to Windows 8.1, did it essentially default back to the original? I just did it now. I just turned the machine on and it upgraded. And I lost all of my custom tiles are all gone. It just defaulted back to the welcome screen, the welcome version.
Well, that's I didn't actually. I mean, I did update, but you remember I was on Windows 8. I went back to Windows 7 because of some audio issues I was having. So when I decided to go with 8.1, once it came out, I had to install Windows 8 first as an update, and then immediately after it finished installing, within 30 minutes or so, I was able to go into the store and update to 8.1. So I have pretty much that same stock experience. I didn't have any tiles pre-set up on this machine.
Yeah, so it essentially took me back to the basic screen that it started with. So all of my tiles are gone.
Yeah. Now you know how to utilize some of these new features, like booting to the desktop instead of the tiles and all that.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I've got the desktop is here. That's no problem.
Yeah.
And even my icons on the desktop are gone. The ones that I had set up. I have basic programs, 3 recycle bin and 3 program icons, shortcuts, and that's it. The utility that I loaded to give me the start menu from the desktop is gone. Probably not compatible. Well, like I said, I just turned it on now and it updated itself.
Yeah.
And interesting.
Another thing, now you're talking about that, it says Microsoft has several valid reasons why you should upgrade to Windows 8.1, which is free if you already own Windows 8. However, there is a known issue that might give some gamers pause before clicking through in the Windows Store. There have been complaints of mouse problems after applying the Windows 8.1 update, most of which have been related to lag in video games. The Microsoft confirmed there are other potential quirks. Acknowledging the problem, Microsoft says it's also actively investigating the issue and working on a patch. So there are some quirks.
Glitches.
Yeah, glitches. What was that thing about glitches? They're all glitches. Somebody was saying that. Where did we hear it this week about glitches? I don't remember. Something about that website.
Well, Wikipedia says a glitch is a short-lived fault in a system. It is often used to describe a transient fault that corrects itself and is therefore difficult to troubleshoot.
So if we let the web page, the
Yes.
healthcare.gov page
Yeah.
just sit there long enough, it'll fix itself?
It will become self-aware, hence Skynet, and the end of the world as we know
Yes.
it.
Did you hear that Blockbuster is going to close
Yes, so retail stores.
completely?
Well,
Last time I was in there, there was...
It says Blockbuster announced that it will close its remaining 300 U.S. location by January and discontinue the DVD by mail service. Before being bought out by Dish, the chain was slowly closing location. Dish CEO said, "This is not an easy decision, yet consumer demand is clearly moving to digital distribution of video entertainment. From an all-time high of 9,000 locations in 2004, the chain has fallen on hard times and had emerged from bankruptcy in 2011. So they are going away, period. Not just the retail location, apparently.
Well, all those confiscatory return fees and punishments and penalties that were imposed on me because I got there at 9:05 instead of 9 o'clock with
Right.
the video.
Yeah. Didn't help them. They didn't help them, did it?
Take that.
Andrew, why don't you call into Computers 2K Voice? You are invited.
He probably has a headache.
No.
He's shy about being on the air.
This story here, I mean, when I was reading, I said, what? Microsoft is generating $2 billion per year in revenue from Android patent royalties, says Nomura analyst Rick, somebody in a new note on the company. He estimates that the Android revenue has a 95% margin. So it's pretty much all profit. This money, says Sherland, helps Microsoft hide the fact that its mobile and Xbox groups are burning serious cash. They're making $2 billion from
billion?
from Android. This is amazing. I would want to have just those patents. Enough for me.
Well, there's a cost
What
in
else?
defending too. It's not necessarily just free money.
Well, one interesting thing on the iPhone front that I read this week, there's an article in Bloomberg about Apple's developing curved iPhone screens, enhanced sensors, and after another interview this week, an analyst, I can't remember his name right now, came away after interviewing Tim Cook with the strong feeling that there were going to be two iPhone releases annually. So moving away from the once a year thing to to 2 releases per year. So I think we're going to see a larger iPhone for sure sometime in the next year. I think they're going to have to move off of that skinny jean mode that they have and offer some options there.
I had a question about those events and no one has been able to answer for me.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they have all these old guys conducting them?
Wait, I'm gonna do
Pride.
something.
I mean, the young kids are the ones who are sucked in by all that stuff. They ought to have kids game. Well, they can't. You can't game on a Mac. Never mind.
I say it.
Well, no, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. We pick a lot, but it's a serious question to me. I don't understand why they have all these old guys, these sufferers on there.
Sufferers?
Sufferers. Come on, Amnon.
The sufferers, yeah.
Tell him, Andrew.
I'm trying to do something here to get the...
All right, so I've got to figure out something to add to my name for my URL for Google Plus. I thought about stud, genius.
What about just C. Phillips?
They won't let, you don't have the option. They give you the first part, and you don't have the option of changing. You can only add to it.
Wow.
And you only get one. Once you pick it, you're done for good unless they change their policy.
Well, you could do Mike Phillips Mike and make it MIC.
KEY.
Mike Phillips Audio.
Hey, that's good.
Well, what if I say to heck with audio, though?
Well, audio's
Then
not
say
important.
heck with Google Plus.
Oh, that'll be first. I blasted them on Twitter, and Dan McDermott came forward and said, "Hey, can somebody help my buddy?" Nobody did, as far as I know.
Well, maybe we ought to make a contest out of this, Amnon, and let the people in the chat vote as to what they think it should be.
All right, people in the chat.
Merle
go
said
ahead.
he just bought his wife an iMac. It makes his life easier. Now, I tried to do the same thing, and my wife gave it back.
Hey, there we go. Mike Phillips, Mac.
Yeah, that'll never happen. Andrew was telling me that in the 13-inch MacBook Pro, you can only get a dual-core. You still can't get a quad-core processor.
Wait a second. Here's Andrew. Hey, Andrew.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Doing great. I'm
Did you have
What's going
breakfast
on?
yet?
I waited to start my day with Computers 2K now. I can't do anything until the show is on.
Yeah, right.
I look forward to it. It was like 7 o'clock. I got up and I was looking at the time. I'm waiting for the show to start. I'm not joking.
Who said that I was?
Oh, you're laughing.
This really aggravates me.
Mike,
I'm looking at this custom URL on this Google Plus, and to their credit, when you type in the stuff that comes after your name, it checks it to see if it's available in real time. Mike Phillips 1 is available.
Yeah.
Why 1 is available? 1 is available. Not without it, but 1 is available. Either that or they're reserving it for somebody.
Mike, can you do like the Mike Phillips or the real Mike Phillips?
Nope, it has to be after it.
Mike Phillips audio.
Well.
That's what we were
Yep.
thinking. Where do you go for this, Mike? I mean, here's the chance to see if that's the case. I don't believe that there's another Amnon Nissan out there. Let's see if they're going to give it to me.
You have to log in to Google Plus and then click on your profile. If they're offering it to you yet, it will pop up automatically at the top of the screen.
So
See, here's what we're talking about.
plus.google.com.
Plus.google.com, log in, and then click on your profile on the left page. See, my public profile without a vanity URL is at plus.google.com/109-216-417-384-179-459-430. Can you imagine giving that to somebody at Time Warner?
I know that's.
I'm sorry. Could you do that again? That would be 1100999. I'm sorry. What was that last digit again? I'm not anti-Mac. I had one.
So, Mike, you brought up something interesting. You said that you bought a Mac for your wife and it didn't work.
I didn't say that.
What did you say?
I said I gave it to her and she gave it back to me. The idea of me reducing tech support didn't work because she wouldn't keep it.
So I got Jess a MacBook in 2009, and she hated it. She wanted nothing to do with it. For a long time, she wanted nothing to do with the Mac. She didn't really like it. She was fine with what she had. Until about a year ago. You know what changed? Windows 8. I got her a laptop with Windows 8. She used it for about a week. She said this is the most ridiculous thing in the world. She wanted a Mac, so I got her a Mac.
No, I don't have any problem with that.
And it switched her over, and she was a diehard. She wasn't going to let go of Windows.
Yeah.
I installed Outlook on there, and she's doing everything she can, and now she says that she can't use a Windows 8 computer at this point.
Ooh, that's bad. That puts her in the minority.
So are you saying when I go to Google Plus and I view my
Click on profile.
At the top it has my picture and it says Amnon Nissan.
Right.
Works.
If it hasn't popped up yet, either they haven't rolled it out yet or you haven't completed enough of their profile, of your profile, for them to think you're serious.
There at the top of right under the menu, there's now a banner.
You'd see it if it's there. It pops up. It adds a banner at the top.
It does.
It says get a custom URL for your profile. You're eligible.
No, it just says
Amnon
Nissan.
Yet.
Change cover.
How many people do you have in your circle?
Wait. What does it say, Amnon?
It says it has that round picture. It says Amnon Nissan. Underneath that, it says works at Nissan Inc. Attends 128 have you in circles, and then on the right side it says change cover.
No, that's not it. You'll know it if you see it. That's where it would be.
Okay. All right. So
what would be some other options for a good custom vanity URL for Mike Phillips?
Let me see if Stud is available before I get too attached to that.
I was about to say that.
It's available.
Heartthrob.
What's
the
initials for like your law degree? Could you do something like that?
Well, it's JD or ESQ is what people typically use.
Yeah, there you go. ESQ.
Yeah, there you go.
I might decide not to use that anymore either. I might give that back.
So I got a question for you guys. I got a tech question.
Okay.
We can't help you with that.
In the chat room, Crackberry Rob brought up Linux, and over the week, I was thinking that I haven't used Linux in quite a few years. Probably, I use Red Hat 6 on a regular basis, so you're going back like 12 years. And I think I played around with Ubuntu in its early days, but I'm looking to just play around with it and install it on a laptop. I don't know what kind of distro to get. I don't know what kind of, like the GUI. I don't know what to do with that. I'm really confused as far as installing Linux and playing around with it. So if you guys have any advice, I'll take it.
If I were going to do that, what I would do, just as a matter of curiosity, is there's that I posted it in the Hangout at one point that there's software called Rivendell that is actually a mini installation of Linux that includes playout software, audio playout software for like radio stations. And what it does, the reason I'm suggesting that is, A, it'd be curious to know what that software is all about, and B, it does a fully configured Linux system that you could at least get a feel for it. Then as far as wiping that out and going with another flavor of Linux, they're offering several things in chat. I tried Linux Mint 15, and it would not load on the older computer I was putting it on.
Okay, so let's say I go to Ubuntu, right? spec should the computer be? I mean, I know a lot of people that install Linux on like single core Pentium 4s. They say that it's good enough, but really, I want to get like a real experience with this thing. I don't want to be biased because I put it on something that's a little, slow and old. So what would you recommend I do, like dual core or?
Well, I'll give you my experience.
Okay.
I went the old route and found and had several people agree with me that if you put the graphical interface, whatever they call it, KDE and the others, if you run those on a computer that doesn't have the horsepower, it would be as slow as Windows on that same computer.
Right.
This business about Linux is fast. That's talking about the command line version. That probably will run on a piece of junk computer.
Correct.
But if you're going to...
That's not true, Mike. You can run... I find a big difference on older PCs. I can run Linux, and it runs, even with the graphical interface, runs much faster than...
Then my experience and yours are different.
No, well, maybe faster, but it's not. But it's still slow.
Well, I mean, all I'm looking at is when you double-click on Chrome, how long it takes to open. And because I've got a computer here, the one I tested it on, I was swapping hard drives back and forth. And on the exact same hardware. It
depends on what version of, like if you're using the latest version of Ubuntu, that tends to be a little bloated. Some of the earlier versions, I found they work very well.
What you're saying is correct, and every time I tried it, somebody said, oh, yeah, well, that version is slower. Well, I don't want the slower version. I'm trying to find out. What I did was I did a test because I wanted to, we were talking about whether Linux would ever move into the desktop market, whether it was where it stood in the marketplace, because, I mean, Apple's nothing but Unix and with cartoons on top. So there's no reason why the Linux guys can't come up with an operating system that should be user-friendly. What I did was I started building it up and ran into all sorts of problems. Jason spent an hour and a half helping me with it, which the average person would not have benefit to a guru like that. Finally got everything up and working. When I was sitting there playing with it, I tried to install an application. In this case, it was Skype. Oh, so no dependencies are missing. It's not going to work. Finally, I found a link where I could type in get apt Skype, get it out of the pre-installed repository. I did that and finally got it up and working. Then while swapping hard drives back and forth, whether it was that interface or what, it was slower. It was slower. Jason had me flip to the interface that he uses. Over half the commands that he had me run, I had to drop down into terminal, which is like command prompt. That's not what the average user is going to do. That was not the question. This is not a criticism of Linux. Linux is a marvelous, marvelous operating system for the right application. I have zero criticism of it. My question was, how ready is Linux desktop, whichever distribution, how ready is it to be used in the school systems to teach kids how to use web browsers, how to do word processing, things like that? Should they be using that system? And in my opinion, the answer is yes. If the school system's IT department would roll out a distribution that all that stuff pre-installed, so all they had to do is click on it, and the distribution is optimized for the hardware they're going to use it for, I see no reason not to do it. It makes no sense to me to go spend $1 billion buying iPads when you can get Linux for free.
Mike, here is, if you see Mike's comment in the chat, the last comment, he says kids would probably pick it up quick. And
no doubt in my mind.
IBM is actually giving their employees laptops with Linux on them. They're running
Mike, what
IBM
were we trying to
applications.
Install it on?
Do what, Andrew?
What were we trying to install it on when you had all these issues?
Dual core Atom 510 processor.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's not awful either. It wasn't a Pentium 4.
Well, it's not an i7 either.
Yeah.
The point being that if I were going, I've got 3 computers sitting here right here. I use 3 every day, not including laptops and the servers and the other stuff in the room. If I were going to convert one of these to a Linux machine, I would have an i5 or greater. Because I would use the graphical user interface. And the graphical user interface, if you want the same capabilities, I guess this is maybe the best way to say it. If you want the same capability in Linux desktop that you have with Windows desktop, it's going to take just as much horsepower to get it.
Maybe not just as much. I mean, it's going to take more power than what you think it will, or what you are being told it will. Because Windows, I mean, if you took today a quad core and installed it on it, it'll probably be the same speed as Windows runs on the i7.
Well, what I want to do is I want to install a Linux distribution on an i7 with an SSD.
Okay, so?
That's what I'm going to do. I don't have that configuration right. I'm out of SSDs. I may have one I can do it. Haven't had a lot of time to play with stuff in the last 2 weeks. But that's what I want to do, because I want to see exactly how it performs with no hardware limitations, per se.
I'm curious on how many people are actually doing that. How many people are installing Linux on an i7?
I would imagine quite a few. I mean, these IT guys got plenty of money.
I think probably in a virtual machine world, you have an i7, you can load whatever operating system you want and just run it when you need it and have multiple open at once.
Yeah, put about 16 gig of memory in that box, an i7 to a 2600K or better. Load.
And it will actually use all 16.
Well, if it will actually use all 16, then that's an awful lot to be said for that.
It will.
Will it use all 4 cores?
It will.
I think it depends on the virtual machine that you're using, because you assign memory based on how much you want that operating system to have. And it does do swapping, but you can. It depends if you're running.
I don't know about the graphics interface, but our servers, when you put in 8 gig, they use the 8 gig. Yes, they will set up. You set up an 8 gig swap file for it, but it would hardly ever touch it.
Eric Andrews makes a good point. Don't forget the graphics card. Because even if you look at the Windows 7 and better, if you look at the Windows index rating or experience rating, the problem, the limitation of this rating, which is on a scale, I think, of 1 to 7, I'm not quite sure, but when the rating is low, it is almost always the graphics card holding it down, and that rating will only go as high as the lowest element in the computer.
The thing to remember is it's very nice to do it in a production environment. You can tailor a machine with Unix to work. But if you want it at home and you like to play around and go on the net and download program, you are not going to be able to do that anymore. Because those programs that are out there that you're used to download and do. Now, there's a lot of them. Then there are more and more for Linux. But you're going to find out that, oh, shoot, I can't do this. Oh, shoot, I can't do that. It's not a big deal, but it still makes you feel like you are an outsider.
Well, it's a showstopper. It's a showstopper for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time, because that's what I was going to talk about, because I have 3 computers sitting right here in arm's reach. If I were to convert one of them to Linux, then I would naturally gravitate to the applications that would run best on the Linux machine. If it wouldn't run there or I needed to run it on another one, I would run it on the Windows machine. Integrating one into this setup would not be that difficult. It would take some work and some planning, but it wouldn't be that difficult. I think where people get spooked is whenever they have one machine and they say, oh, to heck with Windows, I'm going to go ahead and start on Linux. And then they're committed and they find out they can't run QuickBooks or whatever.
Right.
I'll be right back.
919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. Hey, Andrew, that was a good show Friday night.
Well, thank you.
It was great.
I had fun doing it.
And I know, I could tell.
I haven't done a show by myself in quite a long time.
Gives you kind of, hey, I can do it feeling.
Yeah, it was fun. It was different, you know. It was good. We discussed everything from politics to technology to pot. I mean, we talked about everything on that show. It was a really good show. Mike was a good co-host.
So, Amnon, tell everybody who may be viewing this right now and later the name of the show and how they can find it.
Oh, the free-for-all.
Yeah, right.
Friday night. Well, the thing is, I can't tell them every Friday at 8 o'clock. It's a problem because until Andrew feels comfortable doing it by himself and do it every week, and he doesn't.
My schedule, I haven't been feeling well the last couple
but
weeks.
Anyway, it's on Friday evening at gfqnetwork.com.
Yeah, we went an extra 30 minutes too. We were 2.5 hours this week.
And it's not a show for everybody. It's definitely not a show to bring your kids along with you unless they are older. It's free for all, and it's like anything goes.
Do you take call-ins there, Andrew?
We do take call-ins. This week I was using Amnon's Blog Talk Radio account, and it was really handy to use. So we take phone calls, we take Skype calls. We have our regulars that call in. It was a fun show. It was actually one of the tamer shows, surprisingly.
Yeah, it was good. All right, can somebody now explain this to me? Which I mean, I don't understand. It says Google today announced it will block local Chrome extensions starting in January, but only on Windows platform. This means that next year, Windows users will only be able to install extensions for the company's browser from the Chrome web store. The changes will affect both Chrome's stable and beta channels on Windows. Google says it will continue to support local extensions installed on its Dev and Canary channels, as well as installs via enterprise policy. Chrome apps are not affected and will continue to be supported normally. Does that mean that if somebody writes an app and wants to give it to me, I'm not going to be able to install it?
Yes, that's exactly what it means.
How does it work now with the Mac? If I wrote an app and I gave it to you and I said, here, install this and it'll do such and such for you, and you know me and you trust me.
You're talking about the extensions for Chrome?
Can you do it on a Mac?
Let's see. Yeah, I think you could put it in developer. Yeah, you could put it in developer mode. Then you could load. Then you could load the extension. You could pack the extension, load the extension, and then update the extension.
So you don't have to go to iTunes in order to.
No, wait a minute. You're talking about Chrome, or are you talking about an app?
I'm talking about. I mean, this is just starting. This is for Chrome, but
yeah. So the thing that you're talking about is for Chrome. So in Chrome, you could have extensions like the ad blocker and like video. You could find
the add-ons.
So what they're doing is they're no longer allowing you to go into developer mode to unload and pack extensions. So you have to download the extensions from the web. You can't from their web store. You can't develop an application and load it into Chrome.
And so what's the reason? Why does this make sense to do?
Stability, security. Technically, I could go to your computer and load something malicious on there, and it'll.
I understand, but I mean, isn't that something that is up to me if I want to load something? I mean, so that means.
Yeah, but let's say you go to a website, for example. Okay, you go to some website, and the website, along with all the pop-ups, creates an extension to automatically install on your Chrome. Now it created an extension that's not approved and it's doing something malicious.
What happened if I want to write my own app? My own extension.
You got to submit it to their web store, and it has to be downloaded through there.
Interesting.
Which, I mean, they allow pretty much everything and anything. I mean, there's a lot of really bad applications on there. So the odds of you getting turned down, unless you're doing something, with copyright violations or something malicious, that's the only time you're really not going to get approved.
I mean, I'll go even a step further. If I want to write an extension, how do I test it? I don't write.
There are tools. I think you can test it. There are tools to test the application, obviously, but you can't. I don't. I'm curious how it works on Windows. On the Mac, in order to do it, you have to go into developer mode to do it. So maybe that feature's still going to be there, but obviously most people don't know how to go into developer mode.
Yeah.
I mean, but as far as installing applications on a Mac, you can download it from anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, if I choose to go out and be risky, and leave it up to me. Yeah, Mike is saying there you can test it in dev mode.
Yeah.
Well,
but I mean, I don't, because on the Mac, dev mode is not turned on. You got to turn dev mode on. So you can't load your own extensions without being in dev mode. I don't know if it's like that on Windows.
I don't know. And here's something else about Google. I mean, Google is all over the place. Business Insider reports that Google is beta testing a program that tracks users' purchasing habits by registering brick-and-mortar store visits via smartphones, according to a report from DigiDay. Google can access user data via Android apps or their Apple iOS apps like Google Search, Gmail, Chrome, or Google Maps if a customer is using these apps while he shops or has them running in the background. Google new program pinpoints the origin of the user data and determines if the customer is in a place of business. They're getting to the point where they really don't have anything else to do. I mean, what next? They're going to know what I bought?
They already know.
They already know?
Sure, that's what barcodes are all about. It's just who has access to the information.
No.
All right, I'm aggravated. They won't let me have Mike Phillips, but no one else has claimed it.
For a small honoraria, they'll certainly let you have it.
Are you verified on Google Plus?
How would I know?
Good morning, Nick.
Good morning.
I don't know, but the first thought that came to my mind is that somebody named Mike Phillips who is verified, they're probably giving that person a chance to get it. But
how do I find out if I'm verified? Any idea, anybody?
Bruce, you mean like the little verification, like the Twitter verified accounts?
Well, yeah, it's a similar thing, but it's.
I didn't think you could be on Google Plus if you were not verified.
No,
there's an additional verification.
Yeah, like if you go to Dan McDermott's profile, for instance, you'll see a little shield with a check mark to the right of his name, and it says verified name. I don't have that.
I see that.
Yeah, the fancy.
But you got Bruce Turner.
Well, yeah, I got the vanity URL, but that's a different thing than this verified name. I'm just wondering, in answer to your question, if there's a Mike Phillips that's verified, and maybe they're holding it for him or something. I don't know.
When they rolled all this stuff out, there's a Mike Phillips insider somewhere at Google who gets this stuff, because it was way gone by the time I got my invitation for Gmail.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was way gone.
Mm.
So how do you get a verified Google Plus account?
That's a good question. I'll see if I can find that out.
You got to be famous.
There's some about adding a URL, and I went through a bunch of stuff, and I got it to recognize my website. It recognized my YouTube name, but it wouldn't. It did not verify my regular name. I don't know. You know what?
I don't see anywhere to verify your name.
You can't verify. They have to do it for you. They have. It's like Twitter. It's like the celebrities on Twitter. If you're an online celebrity in any way, or if Google or Twitter likes you, you get verified. Same thing with Facebook.
Hey, Debbie. Well, thanks for listening. I just put in a link to an article on how to get verified. I haven't read the whole article yet, but it might be something to look at while we're talking here. Debbie's waving. Let's all wave to Debbie. Listening on Stitcher. Yay.
I got my name is, I got MikePhillips.com and MikePhillips.net. So I guess I really ought not to complain.
So in order to be verified, it says you're required to become popular in your field. Don't share something illegal. Don't opt spam. Remain active on Google+. Do status updates. Get engaged with users. So you have to be popular on the service.
Oh, that's what. Screw that. I mean, Dan knows insiders.
That's true.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Twitter. I mean, if you know somebody at Twitter, you're going to get verified. Or if you work for some kind of company, you'll get it. But, I mean, regular people just don't get it.
So, Nick, did you get your vanity URL on Google+?
I did. I'm plus.google.com / Nick Craig, I think.
Great.
Wow.
I think that's
really
what it
aggravates me.
Andrew, did you get yours?
I did.
Yeah, right. I'm plus Nick Craig.
They don't want to give it to me. They don't. They don't.
You
even
may not.
offer
You
it
have to have a certain level of information in the profile, I think, before they think you're serious, Amnon. You need to go through your profile and answer all the questions and verify the website or something. I forget what it is.
So, on the same note of Google Plus, have we talked about YouTube comments yet?
Yes, we did that while you were asleep.
Oh, okay.
But what's your perspective on it?
The YouTube I run a YouTube gaming channel.
By the way, your audio is blasting.
Yep. Overdriven.
Okay. Hold on. How's that? Is that any better?
More gooder.
All right, how about that?
All right, well, watch your level signal on Skype and you'll know.
Yeah, it's just about halfway.
A thing popped up. It says get URL.
There you go.
And it's telling me that your public profile URL is google.com/numbers. You can change it to, and I have two options, google.com/+AmnonNissan or google.com/+AmnonNissan. A suffix is required.
You want the first one.
They both look the same, so that's interesting.
Grab it while you can.
Well, the suffix means that you have to add something to it.
Like junior.
Yeah.
Or senior in your case.
Verify your mobile phone number. You must verify your mobile...
Yep.
Entering a code. Oh, geez.
Yep, you got to do that.
Custom URLs are free for now, but we may start charging a fee for them.
Yeah, and
however,
everybody
we'll drop them.
Yep, that's right.
It's so stupid. It's like nobody even uses their social network, and they're gonna charge for vanity URLs. That's so stupid.
I need to go get my phone.
Well, they won't collect any money on mine since it's not my name.
I don't think they'll collect money from anybody.
Oh well.
Nick, what do you think of the YouTube commenting?
So in the YouTube, wow, I am loud.
You sound terrible.
I know. I don't know why that's the computer c2k voice machine. Andrew and
Amnon, on the computer's c2k voice machine, bring up tools, options, audio settings, and look at the metering to see if he's blasting Skype or if it's an issue after the machine.
Yeah, I'm really not talking
options, audio settings. Nick.
Yes, hello.
Oh,
Yeah, now he's really low. I can't hear him at all.
Yeah, I know. It's none of them. Both of them are going about 3/4 way.
So how does that sound?
Better.
Yeah, but I'm also distorted, right?
No, not too bad. Not any worse than usual.
I'm on the laptop.
All right, so now text messaging.
So, Nick, about the YouTube commenting.
Okay, yeah. So in the YouTube community, it's people are really rebelling against it. Just because YouTube it's just become one of these things where it's like every single time you send it to YouTube, it's trying to link you with this Google Plus garbage. And I'm not saying Google Plus is bad, but this there needs to be that distinction. And to be honest, I don't think this is going to help them grow their social network at all. I mean, maybe this will be so that, oh, look, we have more concurrent users now because people commenting on YouTube are using Google Plus. But I mean, I don't think anybody is going to start using Google Plus because of this. Now everybody just hates Google Plus because of this.
Nick, I can barely hear you.
I know. Nick, you need to raise yours.
I'm all the way at high on Skype.
It just improved.
I'm
Now
one
you're
and a
too
half
loud.
bars.
No,
I haven't
it's
changed.
fine here.
I haven't changed anything.
Something's screwed up on the system then.
Yeah, no, I'm just sitting here watching. I'm
Okay,
like
lower it.
Lower what?
Lower your volume a little
On
bit.
Skype.
You said you were all the way up. I said lower it some.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
I don't even know what I was saying now. I think
We were
that was
talking
it.
about the commenting.
Oh yeah, I think this has just turned people off to Google Plus, and I think this is a really bad decision for them because now people.
But Nick, they've also done this not just for Google Plus. I mean, obviously that's a major factor, but they also want a lot of those anonymous spammers and trolls to go away. Now, in order to comment, you have to have a real account linked to you. And you need to, have your name associated. So they're saying that this is going to prevent people from harassing and bullying other users.
Yeah, I mean,
So you can't be, Spider-Man 6429 anymore.
no, that's not 100% true. If you have a YouTube channel, you can.
If you have,
When I say-
you're right. You're right.
Because when I sign, I mean, if you actively have a channel, for example, when I signed up or when it pushed me over to Google Plus for the comment system, I kept my YouTube username because that's like that's the quote identity. I mean, if you took these YouTubers that have 5 million subscribers and told them, all right, you have to change your name to your real username, it wouldn't work. So if you already had a YouTube channel, which if you have a YouTube account, you have a YouTube channel, then it stayed the same. It just merged the accounts and it changed the.
Yeah, so I mean, to tease it as if, like, if you have a YouTube account, there's a good chance that you also have a Google Plus account because you have a Gmail account.
Yeah, and I was already signed up for a Google Plus account, but it really wasn't an issue.
Nick, have you linked your YouTube channel to your Google Plus account?
Yeah, it required me to.
I mean, this is preceding the new commenting system change.
Yeah. It required me to.
Okay. Well, there's people on the Google Plus side that feel just as passionate as the people on the YouTuber side, and so they're going to have to. A lot of people are taking a look and see thing, and hopefully, the criticism, the griping, complaining will tamp down, and everybody will give it a chance and to see what happens. But it's been hot and heavy this week in criticisms from both sides.
I think it should be because they are forcing you to use a service you don't want to use, and that wasn't the original intention of YouTube. If they would have said, "Hey, we have a legitimate reason for you guys to use this. If you'd like to sign up for this, sign up for this," then I think that would have been okay. But to just I mean, YouTube.
Yeah, but it's a Google property. They have every right to make that request.
And they do have every right, but to force people onto it is just going to piss people off. I mean, they can't. This is something that's going to keep the fight raging. I mean, the YouTube comments now look like a total joke with all these stupid freaking pluses next to everybody's name. It's a total disaster. I mean, you go to a video with 2,000 comments, and all it is these little side conversations and these pluses names everywhere, and it looks so stupid.
Yeah, but do you like the ranking of comments now in YouTube?
It's not accurate. There'll be a comment where one person responded, and that's at the top, and then there'll be a comment where 50 people have been talking, and that's all the way at the bottom. I mean, it's still not even close to being accurate.
But I think it's going to get more accurate. I think they're headed in the right direction. I understand their strategy. I'm willing to take a wait-and-see attitude toward it. But the sale of anonymous masks is probably going to go sky high now.
Well, and I don't think people don't comment on YouTube to be anonymous. I mean, like I said before, you can keep your YouTube name. I haven't seen anybody commenting that doesn't have some type of username. At least on my videos, people are all commenting with usernames. So,
well, they are two different cultures. Do you think? What's your prognosis as to whether or not they'll be able to eventually mingle and merge?
I would like for them to eventually merge. I think that they need to style it better. It doesn't look right. Like it when you're replying to a comment, it looks similar. It's got the plus and the username, and it's all in the same thread. I don't think there's really the need for that. Like, do
you like the picture?
What picture?
Like on the comments, is there not a picture now of that user?
Yeah, there was always a picture.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's nice. But the one thing that kind of freaks me out is they were really pushing me to change my YouTube channel name to my actual name, and I think that's really where they got a lot of people right there.
Mm.
I'm friends with people that are now in conversation with YouTube to get their name changed back because they signed into YouTube one day and then their username was, Nick's HD Gaming, and now it's Nick Craig.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a serious issue for a lot of people.
Hey, Nick.
Yes, hello.
Reconnect.
All right, we'll do.
It still sounds bad.
That's really strange.
I know. Andrew?
Yes.
Okay, no, you sound the same.
Well, I should sound a little different, too. I'm in my kitchen now making eggs.
Now you're on the low side. But that's
I'll take a sausage and cheese omelet there, Andrew.
All right, you got to give me 20 minutes. We have a busy kitchen today.
You what?
No, Bruce asked for something. I said he has to
Oh.
give me 20 minutes. We're busy today on Sundays.
Hey, Spence, do we have specials?
We do.
Okay.
Wait. Can't we do that at 11?
Yeah,
we can do it at 11.
I didn't say do it now.
Okay.
I haven't gotten the Office Depot yet.
All right. Nick?
You mean Office Max Depot?
Yeah, Max Depot. Yeah, I thought they merged. What happened with
They
that?
did.
They did.
But they still operate as separate companies.
They've got to have time to change the signs. They're actually running a logo now that says Office Depot that's got Depot on the left, Max on the right at the bottom. But they're dropping the Max. They're going strictly Office Depot.
Nick?
Unfortunate, because I thought Max was a better brand.
Well, I thought Depot was a better brand, but I thought Max was a better store.
Well, that's what I meant. Yeah, better service.
Nick, are you there?
Yes, hello.
We can't hear you. If you can hear me, we can't hear you.
You can't hear me at all.
He's got a major audio configuration issues on his end, I think.
Nothing is happening.
You'll figure it out.
All right, just break in when you... I'll let you know when we hear you. This is... I mean, I was reading this, and it's kind of disturbing, but, it says, according to South Korea's National Intelligence Service, North Korea has purchased EMP weaponry from Russia and is now developing its own in-house version. As you'd expect, given the sensitive nature of this information, we don't have a lot of details about either the Russian EMP weapon or the DPRK's homebrew variant.
So the in-house version, they're going to use it on themselves? Why would we want to stop them from doing that? Oops.
But they were saying, I mean, the article title was saying that they bought from Russia, and at this point they can melt all the electronics in Asia. I wasn't aware that even that kind of stuff even in reality existed to that level. I don't know if it's true or not.
Well, think about it. The only way to get that kind of power is to use it would have to take atomic power. They could not do it they don't have enough generators to generate a pulse that big without having a nuclear option.
And we know that they do have that.
Well, maybe. They may have, there's speculation that they may have faked that blast by just having a very, very big TNT explosion just to make everybody think they had it. Certainly think they're capable of it, but whether they have the expertise and the money to do it.
It says, hot on the heels of harnessing nuclear fusion and the slew of ballistic missile launches, South Korea's intelligence agency is now reporting that Kim Jong-un, North Korea, is developing an electromagnetic pulse EMP weapon. At a bare minimum, this EMP could theoretically damage electronic equipment south of the Korean DMZ. At high power level, a real EMP device can melt any electronic device or system within hundreds of miles. The EMP would be part of North Korea's larger cyber warfare efforts, which have so far been mainly focused on gathering intelligence by hacking South Korean computer networks and devices. That's... Yeah.
I am enjoying here, by the way, homemade mango habanero jam on my toast. Quite delicious.
So I'm still looking at this Google Plus crap. I have 2 identities on YouTube, and they're both offering me custom URLs. The first one, I was able to add my website to it. The one that I use and want to use, I can't find any way to add my website. I look at the links on the About page. It's you're eligible for a custom URL, what's your YouTube channel, other profiles, where you're contributing to, other links. But at no place does it have the option for me to add a website, and that's apparently where some of this stuff is keyed off of. Since I have MikePhillips.com, if I were able to get that website into the profile, they might release that to me. Although Nick doesn't have NickCraig.com, he has NickCraig.net.
Makes sense to me.
The interesting thing is, here's a question. How can people reach you at home? None of your business. What do you mean, how can people reach me at home?
Send me a letter.
How can people reach you at work?
Not possible.
Why, why would... I don't know.
Bruce, who do we know that understands Google Plus?
Alan Furstenberg. Dan does some. There's Moritz Tordoff, I think, is a Google Help guy. He's German, but he's at the Google office in Ireland. Might be good to post that. I think they have a Google Help community on Google Plus.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
You know what it's called? Google Help 102-345-697-622.
No, I'm going to my communities. I'll tell you what it's called here shortly it's just called Google Plus Help. Google and then the plus sign space help.
Okay.
There are 122,230 members. And you could probably search
something
and find
quicker there.
Mm-hmm.
Google Plus Help.
Aiming to boost the security of its Android line of mobile products, AT&T had announced a new deal with software security firm Lookout. The arrangement will allow AT&T to bundle Lookout's software with all Android smartphones and tablets offered by the wireless carrier. I use Lookout. I mean, it's a free program that you download. A nice program. App. Has a antivirus, has a backup. It's neat. Now, a trio of programmers in San Francisco have built their own version of healthcare.gov.
It's just a portal to say, give us your name and all your money?
No. Over the course of a few late nights, the healthsherpa.com, that's the if you want to look at it, healthsherpa, SHERPA.com, allows users to browse health insurance plans available in their zip code and even calculate what federal tax subsidies they may be eligible for. The government site does not allow users to browse plans like this, instead requiring everyone to register and fill out an application. The site does not attempt to do most of the complex functions of healthcare.gov, including verifying identity and submitting applications. It's more of a demonstration of how one aspect could have been designed better. They got it completely backwards in terms of what people want up front. Ning Liang told CBS News. They want prices and benefits so they could make the decision. And yes, it's kind of ridiculous that you have to enter all your information up front before they even talk to you, kind of. I don't know, but over the course of a few late nights, why is everybody quiet?
I'm looking at this site now, and it's giving me prices and plans, but it doesn't say whether it's for this year or for next year. There's no date on it, because I know one site I went to, which was a third-party site to shop for healthcare, had it was all private insurance, but they said, which year are you applying for, 2013 or 2014? This one does not say that.
No? What happened
But it does say, this is the nice plan type. It gives it the 4 types of plans, and then or the 5 types of plans, because catastrophic is available for under 30. Interesting.
Wonder what happened to Nick. Anyway, what else is going on? Everybody's quiet. I'm running out of stories.
Well, I've got some help information. Spent some time helping a guy who is a regular listener of this show. I spent some time last night helping him get his audio set up. and would like to offer some general troubleshooting comments based on things that I've not dealt with in quite a while. And that is that when you're trying to set up your equipment, and I'm only talking about the audio, when you're trying to set up your equipment, don't try to change everything at one time. You start simple and then work your way into it. Don't go in and hook up all your cables and then start guessing at what the settings should be. Once somebody starts helping you, you need to focus on doing one thing at a time, not getting all convoluted and frustrated and confused. That means that whenever you're going to set up a mix-minus feed to your computer, the first thing that you do is you plug a cable into the aux send on your mixer. You go from the aux send to the audio input on your computer. Feed audio to the aux send to the computer. Monitor on the computer to see if the audio is getting to the computer. If it is, you've completed step one. If it's not getting there, you need to troubleshoot and fix that part of the problem first. Going ahead and plugging in all the wires and start going in and clicking on things that you don't know what they do, all it's going to do is complicate things. When I logged into his computer, I just happened to think about some things that might be a problem. I clicked on them, and sure enough, he'd been in there and clicked on them and made a mess. We finally got him working perfectly. When I was done, the only thing that was left is that he had a ground loop, and he also needs a second sound card to do what he wants to do. But he also now has a much better understanding of what he's trying to do. Good guy, smart guy. He just is not familiar with audio. Help is available. If you want to set things up and get them going, we can help you to an extent. I don't have unlimited time to do it, but I'll try to help any way I can. But don't. I used to ask. There was an old story going around. You ask a guy in tech support, "What's the funniest tech call you ever received?" And the guy says, "Oh, okay." He says that the guy on the phone tells me that a screen just popped up and wanted to know if that was okay, and I tell him to click yes. And all of a sudden, in the background, he said, "Okay, done."
In what language?
Who knows? And that's what happens. So, and the other thing is, you know what? If you're going to ask somebody for help, don't think they don't know what they're talking about, right? I mean, it's if you don't think they know what they're talking about, don't waste their time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I dealt with it like a week ago. I had a guy, and I would tell him to do something, and he would do something different. And I said, "No, that's not what I said to do." "Well, I know, but I've worked with this before. I thought this would be the right." I said, No, I'm not going to do that. Either you want to tell it. I mean, think about it, because I'm sitting here at my computer, and the guy I worked with last night. I mean, it's hard to understand that I'm sitting here looking at a screen. I'm not sitting there looking at the physical equipment and the layout and the variables and the gazentas and comsautas. You have to break it down piece by piece. If you want help, you gotta help people help you, and that's really all I was going to say. Oh, Debbie, thank you very much. That's very kind. How did you know it was my birthday?
You were glowing.
Happy birthday, Mike. Is it?
Well, it's next week.
Oh.
It's the last one.
No, it's not the last one.
Last one.
No, it's not.
No, don't say that. You either get older or you don't.
It's not.
No, I'm going to get older. I'm just not going to have any more birthdays.
Right. Of course.
So.
Shoot. Lost my train of thought. Never mind.
It'll come back to you if it's important. Nick says he will just listen.
Why? No, I want you to call in, Nick.
He's very shy.
Let's make sure that it's actually that the problem still exists or that it's solved. Don't just resign to that. I mean, connect. Let's see if it works. If you don't want to stay online, that's fine. But let's see if you fix the problem.
Maybe I should get off. Maybe it's affecting it somehow.
You're on a Mac.
I am on a Mac.
Ew. Ew.
I wouldn't go anywhere else. This is what I would use. I haven't used a Windows-based computer in 5 years as my regular computer.
Liar.
No, that is true.
You used the Lenovo last week.
When?
Ah.
No, everyday use.
Oh, okay. Oh, well.
All right, let's see. Maybe this will start something. Enjoy your battery life while it lasts. Samsung has announced that AMOLED smartphone displays with 2560 by 1440 resolution. And it's 560 ppi at 5.2 inches. What?
That's 4K.
Will arrive sometimes in 2014. And it's going to eat batteries up. What do you think?
Battery technology has always fascinated me because it's a very slow evolution of better battery technology. If you've noticed what we've done, we've gotten bigger with batteries, but the technology really hasn't changed over the last couple of years. We're putting in bigger batteries for, to support larger screens and higher resolution screens, but in reality, we haven't improved the battery technology all that much. And about 2 years ago, I was reading an article about in Israel, there's a company that has figured out a way to have the battery have better memory retention. As far as, when you use a battery like on your cell phone, the lithium-based battery in your cell phone is not performing at the same level that it was 2 years ago. And that's a big problem for batteries because I guess the memory cells in them, they're not able to hold it anymore. So they figured out a way with a special coating inside of the battery to have these cells keep the battery's life longer. Like a laptop, for example.
Right.
When you have your laptop, everybody that, you can walk around with this thing unplugged for the first year. And then after that, you're getting what? Maybe a half hour to an hour, 2 hours maybe? So they've come up with the technology, but after that, I really haven't heard much about it. And that's the biggest problem, is that the batteries aren't getting better. The products obviously are, the computers are, they're becoming more efficient, but there's only so much efficiency that the chipset could do. A lot of it has to fall on the battery.
I read it. There are a couple articles or podcasts I listened to and articles that I read over the last few years about battery technology. And one thing that's promising, I think it may be related to what you're talking about in Israel, was that they developed a new battery, lithium-ion battery, that could be flash charged. Instead of taking hours and hours to charge it, it can charge in a matter of seconds, and that would make a huge difference. And the other thing that I heard recently, which I think I mentioned it on the show, it's a few months back, was that everybody thinks that you should keep your battery charged and then run it down and charge it again and run it down. Well, I was listening to Leo Laporte, and he said, contrary to popular belief, it is best to keep your device plugged in all the time because every lithium-ion battery has a fixed number of charges. Say it's 1,000 charges. And if you disconnect it and drop the battery to 50% and then charge it up, you've used half of one charge. So every time you do that, every time you discharge and recharge the battery, it's using up potential charges. So that it is actually best to keep the device plugged in. It will not harm the battery to do that. The early technology, yes, because the charging circuitry was not sophisticated enough to recognize temperature, and there were dangers to it. But now they're saying keep it plugged in if you can.
You can't do battery calibration anymore with your lithium-ion battery. Like the Lenovo's, like I have an older Lenovo that's years old.
Andrew, we can hardly hear you.
Yeah, you're breaking up.
Sorry.
What'd you do?
I think downstairs, and my stairs are really creaky. I was like a Lenovo. I have a Lenovo that's like 4 years old, 3 years old, and you could do a battery calibration on this thing, where you do like this weird diagnostic thing, and you turn it off and you turn it on, and you let it drain, and then you charge it again halfway. It's a whole thing to calibrate the battery for better performance. You really can't do that on these newer laptops.
Apple still supports it because you go in and look and you can see how many times the battery is cycled. There's some statistics there, and you can, when you put in the new battery, you recalibrate it. And I tried it when I got the new battery for my MacBook Pro. It didn't make much difference on charging. Didn't seem to make it that much better. But
I mean, I have a 2011 MacBook Pro, and I don't know if you can.
I mean, hey, Andrew.
Yeah.
Why don't you try to reconnect?
Okay.
He's out there in outer space. He's talking to us off a relay off the space station.
I mean, if it comes down to it, I'll have to reboot this machine. But
has anybody seen the movie Gravity yet?
I have.
Is that
to see
better
it today?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, very good.
Yep, I enjoyed it a lot.
So go ahead, Andrew. You were saying?
So I mean, I had until the Russians stole it from me, the 2009 MacBook, and that one I could do a calibration, and I saw it improving. This one, my 2011, I remember reading that it was not recommended to do it because it didn't really do anything.
Well,
but interestingly enough, I have a little thing that says service battery right now.
On my phone, it stays connected all the time to the charger when I'm in the office, which is most of the time. But the reason I do that is not because I'm trying to get better use out of the battery. That's the first time I heard that, which makes sense, Spence. But because I want it to be full if I need to leave. The battery would last about 2 years. Now, these batteries are cheap for the Droid 2. I think they're like 4 something, 5 something. And very easy to replace, so I don't care if it... Now, Spence, you make me feel better about what I'm doing. But again, I'm wondering where Leo Laporte is getting his information and if there's any...
He said he spoke to an engineer who developed battery technology for a large manufacturer, one that worked on the circuitry and the batteries for, I don't know if it was laptops or what kind of devices. But he said, the engineer said, that's how it works from a physics perspective. That's how it works. You've got a limited number of charges at the molecular level that a lithium-ion battery can do before it says,
that's interesting.
No more.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. It, like I say, it does make sense because yes, it has so many times that you can charge your battery. So that may be, yeah. Hey, Andrew.
Yes.
Can you send a request to NC on Skype to NCN guest?
Sure. Looking for it right now. NCN guest?
Yeah, it may be NCN space guest. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm seeing it there, but
I'm not seeing it.
Okay, so try with a space.
Yep, got it.
All right.
Want me to call that?
I didn't get the request yet. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
What time is it? 10:45. I can do the specials now if you want.
Wait a sec.
If you
What
want.
I'm looking for, I've got to have some external USB drives. Any deals on those today?
Yeah, there's a couple. Some better brand
Andrew,
names
go ahead
too.
and call
Let's see.
again.
I'll find it. You'll hear me mention one that's got a couple of good deals, good prices on brand names. So, all righty then. Starting with, of all places, Target. Target actually has Motorola SB 6120 and 6121 surfboard cable modems on
Did
sale.
we ever find out if the 6120 will work with Time Warner?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Just
Yeah, they've expanded their list, and they actually do designate between what type of service is supported on which modem. So if you have...
Spence, hold on just a second.
Sure.
Andrew?
I don't think...
Hey.
Oh, yeah. I need to reboot the computer's c2k voice. Nick, it's not your problem. Okay, go ahead, Spence.
Okay, so they do have... and this $69.99 is probably what you'll see on sale at other places too. But if you're interested in not paying the rental charge, excuse me, the rental charge per month for your cable modem, they've got a Netgear N600 wireless router for $79.99. Plus, both of those will come with a $10 gift card for Target. At Staples, they've got an HP LaserJet color printer with, a color printer, $164.99, and that's 50% off the regular price. They've got a Nexus 7 16 gig tablet, $229, and that comes with $30 additional off if you trade in another tablet. They have a 32 gig version for $269. That other one was a 16 gig version.
And that's the new Nexus 7, right?
The new Nexus 7.
Okay.
15.6-inch HP AMD A6 laptop, $349, save $230. That's a mail-in rebate or a easy rebate. This is Staples. A Toshiba 15.6-inch i3 laptop for $379, save $170, also with a rebate. Acer 15.6-inch A10 touchscreen laptop, $579, save $120. And Lenovo 15.6-inch i5 touchscreen laptop. And this is the one that's advertised as laptop mode and stand mode. So I guess they have a way of flipping the screen around to make it into a little bit different configuration for this or the touchscreen. $649, and that is $80 off. That's all at Staples. At Tiger Direct, they've got an Asus 10.1-inch touchscreen convertible laptop tablet, 2 gig of memory, 64 gig solid-state drive for $379.99. They've got a D-Link wireless day-night camera for $59.99. That's 10 off. 19-inch HP monitor for $89.99. 22-inch gateway monitor for $99.99. Amped high-power range extender for 2.6 gigahertz Wi-Fi. This is 600 milliwatts, which is the maximum amount of power you can have for an access point, $69.99. They've got memory on sale, DDR3 desktop memory, 4 gig for $37.99, 8 gig for $64.99. Laptop memory, 4 gig for $34.99, 8 gig for $64.99. They've got a do-it-yourself kit. If you're interested in building your own PC, you don't want to spend a lot of money, you will need to provide a hard drive for this and an operating system. But they've got a kit with an AMD FX 4100 processor, 4 gig of memory, a case, and a motherboard for $199.99 after a mail-in rebate. They've got a 50-pack of DVD-R media for $9.99. That's $5 off the regular price. That's at Tiger Direct. At Office Max, they've got a Brother Mono laser printer scanner copier with Ethernet for $129.99, save $70. They've got a wireless Brother color inkjet printer, scanner, fax copier with two-sided printing. I can't get over these prices. $59.99 for fax machine that will do two-sided printing, wireless, 40 off.
Yeah, but check the price of the consumables, of course.
Oh, it's Brother. I mean, it's pretty standard, and you can refill them. So,
I mean, it's so inexpensive where you could just go and buy the printers and just throw them out whenever the ink runs out. It's going to cost you less.
I mean, at that price, $60. So, I buy my cartridges from third parties. They're knockoff cartridges. They're not refills. And they work good.
I have a laser printer, a color laser, and I have not found a knockoff that works properly. All of the cartridges leak the ink. So I'll have, depending on when I get it, it could either be like the red ink is on every page or the blue ink is on every page. The only one that always works is black.
I have on my mono laser, I have two of them. I have one that's a fax machine. I have one that's a high capacity two-sided printing, and I only just replaced the starter cartridge in the larger one. And I had it for 3 years. And I replaced the cartridge with the high capacity cartridge that I bought when it was new. So it's been sitting in the box for 3 years. I don't print as much anymore, and I certainly don't print a lot in color anymore. I can do it, but I don't bother. All right, where was I here? Let's see. Wireless mono laser printer with duplex. This is a desktop printer. 109, save 40. They've got a Lenovo 15.6-inch AMD E1 laptop. This is an entry-level laptop for $249.99, save 120. Lenovo 17.3-inch Intel Pentium 2030M, $349.99, save 100. They got a Dell 24-inch monitor for $119.99, save 80. A 20-inch AOC monitor for $89.99, save 20. They've got an APC 700 VA battery backup for $79.99. That's 20 off. An HP OfficeJet mobile printer with Bluetooth. This is a small, foldable, or collapsible printer that you can take with you. It's got a battery built into it. $199.99. That's $80 off. And they have the Neat Desk scanner and filing system. And the only reason I mention this has always been out there, and you typically see it on sale. It's $379.99. It's not cheap. Save $20. But the people who have this love it. And the office that I do part-time work in, each of the financial planners and accountants has one of these, and they use it to file documents. But it's also very handy if you want to batch scan photos, because it will accept documents of different sizes in the feeder at the same time. So actually, very handy little device. Again, it's pricey, but if you have a need that is going to save you time, it really does work well. And they have software for organizing the files. That was all at Office Max. At Best Buy, I actually was able to find the Best Buy online ad today because it wasn't in the paper again, interestingly enough. But I did, after searching their webpage, find it hidden away. And it was essentially the same as looking at weekly deals, just hidden. 15.6-inch Toshiba Intel processor, entry-level laptop for $229.99. 15.6-inch Toshiba i3 touchscreen laptop for $449.99. We got an Acer 20-inch LED monitor for $89.99, save 40. Seagate 1 terabyte USB hard drive for $69.99. Rocketfish 4-port HDMI selector. I don't know if this is a good price or not, guys. Tell me if this sounds good to you. $69.99, save 10. I know there are cheaper ones out there, but I know the Rocketfish is a good brand. That's all at Best Buy. Office Depot for a few items here. Toshiba 15.6-inch i3 touchscreen for $39.99, $399.99, save $150. Acer Chromebooks starting at $199. They've got the Logitech MK320 keyboard and mouse combo for $29.99. That's $10 off. And finally, the Asus 7 tablet with the free 16 gig micro SD card, $149.99. And Mike, I'm sorry, I thought I had put down some USB. I'll go back and look through the ads. I know there were a couple out there today, like a 16 gig for $9.99, 32 gig.
No, I'm talking about hard drives.
Oh, hard drive. I'm sorry. I thought you meant USB flash drive. So a solid state drive?
No, just like a 2 terabyte USB 3.0 external hard drive.
External hard drive. Yeah, there's a couple out there. The prices were unremarkable. That's why I didn't mention them.
Yeah, well, don't worry about it. I mean, if there was nothing exciting about it, I figured that there should have been some decent sales this weekend because of the holiday.
Veterans Day, yeah. Now, the typical price I see out there now, sale price is between $89 and $99 for a 2 terabyte.
Yeah, I got to
depending on
find a
features.
couple of them.
Thanks, Spence.
Hey, what?
I said thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
So good information.
I keep saying every week, somebody send me the money. I'd be happy to go out and buy all this stuff just to test it.
Yep. 919-518-9773. Computers 2K voice on Skype. Mike Andrews. Oh, Mike stepped up.
I'm here, Amnon.
Yeah, no. I was going to ask Mike if he hears you better. I mean,
I went back to the laptop because I was on my headphones before.
Oh.
I'm actually rooting my phone again. I'm installing a new ROM on my phone.
You mean routing?
Rooting.
What is what, Bruce?
You root a phone, you route a trip.
Unless you live in the UK.
So I had a good friend of mine, Jeff Zahas, in Napa Valley, part of California. And one of the things he's well known for is for purchasing tech devices and returning them. We tease him all the time about it. And so there's been, there's been some interesting side bets on how long he would keep his new Acer Chromebook, the Acer 720. That's the one with 4 gig of RAM and a Haswell processor. And so we've had a lot of fun talking about this in the tech and coffee community. But he has quickly decided that it is a keeper for him. And he is really enjoying it. One of the comments that he made that I thought was quite interesting is that, this instant-on lightweight nature of the Chromebook is really replacing his Android tablet and the use of that. I mean, except when he said, "I take my tablet to bed. I don't take my Chromebook to bed." Don't know what to make about that comment, but he's using the Chromebook much more than his tablet now. So,
well, I mean, it makes sense because the tablet is just flat, and here's a book, and I'm assuming the Chromebook opens up like a laptop.
oh yeah,
So it's hard to use in bed.
yeah. I even use the offline Kindle app for Chrome OS, and it's really nice. So if I wanted to use my Chromebook on the plane tomorrow to, read some of the books that I'm involved in, I can do that on the plane. And now, right, we can use these gate to gate. But it's interesting. I got an email from US Air, and the email talks about the fact that you can now use your devices, but it says not available for. It's only available for what they called mainline flights. They're working hard to get it available on express flights. So it makes me wonder. Flying out of Lynchburg, you're flying either on a Dash 8 or a CRJ 200. Both are little commuter planes, and they're operated by Piedmont Airlines. But it's a U.S. Air plane. It's got U.S. Air colors and it says U.S. Air on it. Does that mean that is that an express flight? And does that mean I couldn't read a Kindle on those connecting commuter flights, but have to only use it on, like let's say a flight from Denver to Orlando or New York to Seattle or something else like that? I mean, what would be the difference between using a Kindle, something that's not radiating a signal like a Wi-Fi radio or a GSM radio or whatever, what would be the difference between one plane to another? I don't see how there would be any, but I'm open.
Well, I'll tell you what I read.
Okay.
What I read was that the FCC authorization, or the FAA, I don't know why they said FCC, maybe the FCC's involved, but the authorization only applied to company-owned airplanes. Even if they are branded with the airline, if they're owned by another company, that authorization does not apply to those planes.
Okay, so there's absolutely no technical reason why that's
So-
the case.
There
That
was
makes-
none mentioned in this article that I read, correct?
Wait, Mike. If it's only for companies that they own the airplane, that airplane that is branded but is owned by another company, isn't it a quote-unquote company-owned airplane?
No,
Why not?
because
That other
they don't own the airplane.
No, but that other company owns it.
Yeah, but they didn't get an exemption.
Amnon, let's suppose that you own the airline and you didn't want to fly the trashy routes. So I contract with you to provide planes for those crappy routes. I fly my pilots, my help. But you say, wait a minute, this is going to look funny. You need to paint Amnon Airlines on the side of your airplane. So I do that, but then you get permission to allow these devices to be used. But I'm not you, so that permission that you received doesn't apply to me, even though I've got Amnon Airlines on the side of my airplanes.
I understand that. Wait a second. So maybe it's the lack of information on my side here. Is it given as a blanket thing to the airline industry, or every airline has to apply for their own and be examined or whatever, and then they get the license to use it?
Think about it from a bureaucratic point of view. What do you think the answer would be?
I think that they would probably want each airline
One by one.
Right.
Yeah. This totally irks my soul, fries my shorts. You think about what percentage of flights are on express underlings like this. I mean, you fly from Raleigh to Charlotte. What do you think you're going to be on a mainline flight? Here's what their email says. I don't know if you can read this, but because it's pretty small. But among other things, it says headsets should be used only for any audible portable device. And then it says this update only pertains to mainline flights, but we're working to implement this policy on our express carriers as soon as possible. How can they work to implement this on express carriers if the FAA regulation says it's only on planes that are owned by the company?
Because they're probably lobbying to get the rule corrected. That's what I suspect that is the law of unintended consequences. The morons who pass the laws say, "Oh yeah, well Delta, we're going to let everybody at Delta do it." Oh, wait a minute. All the planes aren't owned by Delta. Technically, this doesn't fit. Oh, okay. Well, let's take a look at that. I'm not being cynical. That's my guess as to what happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know how many business travelers are going to be totally PO'd by this because they're flying out of regional airports like Roanoke or Lynchburg or Richmond so they can connect to Atlanta, the Holy Grail. Somebody, I'm a preacher, and they say that if you're going to go to heaven, you have to go through Atlanta. But or to connect to Charlotte, or to connect to somebody else's hub, like American Airlines hub in St. Louis or something else like that. So, there's going to be a huge percentage of people that aren't going to be able to benefit from this.
And what are they going to do
about the real reason, though, is because the expensive airlines are the only ones that could afford the right foil hats for their pilots in the cockpit. You got to have that foil hat to protect your head from all that concentrated RF.
If you told me today mainline flights, doesn't mean anything to me. I get on a plane, I heard that I can use it, I'll use it.
Bruce, do you think they really care what their passengers think?
I think the airlines care. I think, because they know that there's been no technical reason why this couldn't have been done a long time ago. I don't know. I don't know, what's driving this, whether it was just a moronic, alleged bill that was put together or decision that was made, or whether there's some ulterior conspiratorial, motive involved here. But
that would be called a shakedown.
That would be called a shakedown. Yeah. So, I'm going to get on the plane tomorrow. I was so looking forward to, read. It's just a short hop from here to Charlotte, right? I mean, it takes, 45, 40 minutes? Yeah, but you got to wait for the 10,000-foot bell to ding. If I pull it out before that,
How many people, let's say on a flight, how many people actually turn off the devices at that initial,
Well, at least a fourth of them.
I never do. I go airplane mode. I never turn it all the way off.
I don't even think the people doing airplane. I think they're just putting
Wow, Andrew, your connection.
He's siloning real bad.
You are.
How about now?
No, you're okay now.
Okay, that was my fault.
We know.
Yeah, I mean, what did you say about 10,000 feet?
You have to wait for the bell to ding.
Yeah, if you fly a lot, you know that they say once we shut the door, you got to turn everything off, and then you're climbing, and after a while you hear ding ding. That's your signal. It's 10,000 feet, and I always turn it on then because the flight attendant, it's not always very quick to pick up the little handheld thing. You can now use your portable devices.
Oh, so it's not from takeoff till landing. It's still at 10,000.
That's the way it always has been.
Mm-hmm.
They're just now changing it. That's what's frustrating, is this authorization to do it from the ground, not ever having to turn them off. Right. This authorization is being applied politically instead of technically.
Well, so you just use it and you make your own political...
Yeah, I mean, the federal jails in Charlotte are nice,
Bruce.
I
don't believe you're going to get...
you don't have to, Amnon.
Listen. If you hear on the news that you can you can use it from takeoff to landing, you don't have an altimeter to tell you what height you're flying at. You don't understand the ding, ding, ding. You using it. Nobody can. I don't know. I guess I don't have to worry about it because I don't fly on.
Well, I'm in row 3, and there's only one flight attendant on this little regional hop.
Right.
And same thing on the flight from Charlotte to Melbourne, Florida. So unless my only problem is going to be at night, because when you're flying at night like I am when I'm coming home, and you turn it on early before the ding, 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 she's going to see this glow on my face and know that I've got something running. Otherwise, I'm going to turn it on anyway before the ding.
Hello,
and I'm going to
Vance.
say that Amnon said it was okay.
Yeah, that's it. They just tell him it's okay.
All right.
This is the airline you don't want to fly on, the one that's in the picture here.
And Vance posted an article that actually goes into more detail as to what we were talking about, and even goes into the various airlines. I would caution you, it is a CNN article, so read it with a grain of salt.
Right, and U.S. Airways is, I'm platinum on U.S. Air. That's all I fly right now to do what I do for business. So, and I'm glad that the article addresses U.S. Air specifically.
How many of you get Dave's computer tips?
I do.
Did you see this week he had something about crypto prevent?
You know what? I don't recall having received one in a while.
Okay. There's that ransomware. Remember the one that they say you can't, they were just hiding your files and you have to pay money in order to get it back? Mm-hmm. Well, now it's even worse than that. At this point, they actually encrypt your files and they ship it to a server somewhere and ask you to pay money.
A buddy of mine who's in the IT business had someone who got that, or that one, or a version of it, and it encrypted every folder on their server.
Right. So
on their server.
Well, it'll do it on anything. It says, I mean, if you read Dave's article and then go into the links, you realize that it's like a worm. It will do any attached drives and network drives and things like that.
Get a Mac?
Yeah. But he also talks about a program called Crypto Prevent. that's supposed to prevent these things from actually happening to you. And when you go to the link, they explain that that with Windows Professional, like XP Pro and all these Pro versions of Windows, you can actually accomplish the same thing by going into the security policies. But for those that don't know how to do that, then here's a program to do that will do it for you. And I downloaded it, and it came up, and now they have a new one also and he says it's totally free, and the new one costs $15, but it does automatic updates. But I said, let me try it and see what it does. So I downloaded it, and there's a button that says test. So I click test. And it went and went and went and went, and I don't see anything going on the hard drive or anything. Control-Delete, look at the
Takes time to upload that stuff, Amnon.
You don't upload anything.
Yeah, it was uploading all your encrypted files to their server.
This is from the manufacturer.
That was a joke.
That's foolish IT is where you get. But it locked up. It did not use any CPU, but it didn't do anything. So I restarted the computer.
My programs that don't do anything don't use much CPU either.
Yeah, what I'm saying is it didn't do anything. It was just sitting there. That if you put the cursor on that little window, it shows an hourglass like it's doing something, but it wasn't. So I said, you know what? I'm going to let it run all night. So I restarted the computer. Everything is, and the computer is working at that point. This morning, it was still there. So, but there's got to be something about it, because as far as I know, Dave will not write about this, and this company will not put it out if it didn't do what it's supposed to do. And it's simple. It's you whitelisting all the EXEs that you have on your computer at this point in those two directories where EXEs are, and then it will tell you that there is something that's trying to run and do the damage, and you can say block it. So it's not rocket science. It makes a lot of sense, but I don't know if doesn't run on XP. I couldn't find any information. I was doing it on my machine that runs XP. But you really need to be careful, because this is now serious. I mean, they encrypt your file and put it somewhere else. And of course, even if you pay, you probably don't get them back.
This one that I heard about, they didn't even have the ability to de-encrypt them, decrypt them, unencrypt them,
decrypt them,
remove the encryption.
Yeah,
it was just a total scam. So,
yep,
they're just being entrepreneurs.
Don't click on it.
Exactly. Don't click on it.
I will tell you this. I've had my baptism in fire when it comes to XP over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Microsoft has really changed a bunch of stuff with XP. If you have an XP computer that you haven't powered up in a year, you might be in for. Say again?
Throw it out the window.
Nah.
That's about right.
Nah.
It's a good chance that it will not run correctly when you boot it, because Microsoft has changed a bunch of stuff on Windows updates. It's just a mess, a real mess. If you have an older computer that you are using just for whatever, I mean, for simple purposes, it's not worth buying a replacement. If you have to reinstall XP on that operating system, you're going to have your work cut out for you on that computer. You're going to have your work cut out for you. I'm just telling you. It is a major problem.
Well, let me tell you what I did this week. I was going to install XP on a machine to give somebody. And that's a machine that I didn't run for a long time. Started it said it wants to do updates. I told it to go ahead and do updates. It went and it finished. And I said, let me look and see what's... I have a flash drive that has some utilities on it. I can't remember what I was trying to look. But stuck it in and looked and said, no, I'm going to just reinstall XP. So it'll be clean. Oh, yeah, it had a bunch of other stuff on it that I didn't want. So, do you know how if you're in safe mode and you plug in a flash drive, it will not recognize it.
Right.
I started the computer and went to install. Never mind safe mode. I mean, installing XP. Do you know it recognizes it at that point? I went through and, it comes to the screen where it asks you where to install Windows, and it shows you the different partitions, and, you see the 100 megabyte partition and the big partition, all that. So you go ahead and you remove all those partitions, and you just create one big partition, all that. But to make a long story short, one of those partitions was the actual flash drive. I was quick going through it. And I was trying to recover that partition. I spent probably 3-4 hours just because I wasn't about to give up. The files are available. I mean, it's no big deal. But I went ahead and I actually went and purchased a program called Partition Recovery that went and found some other partitions on it, but not that particular partition. I ended up just formatting and putting the utilities back on it. But it is amazing how much harder it is to recover a flash drive than it is to recover a hard drive. And be careful, if you have a flash drive plugged into the computer and you are trying to install an OS, the OS recognizes it, even though the installer recognizes it. Let's put it this way. I was so pissed at myself at that point. Say, how could I have done that? What if this was an important flash drive that I couldn't replace? But I'm ready for next time. I'm backing it up to another computer too, which I didn't do before. But it's the program. Actually, I bought the Partition Recovery. It found the partition, but I couldn't see any of the files. So I called the company.
The partition was on the USB drive that you were trying to retrieve?
Yeah. I called the company, which is in Canada. Talking to the guy, he was Russian, I can say for sure. Spoke good English. So nice. Took his time. We talked about it. I mean, this is like a $34 program. At the end, he was saying, what you need is not the partition recovery. You need our pro version, which has the file recovery. And he says, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to send you another key that even though you have to pay more, I'm not going to charge you. Because maybe we didn't explain it enough. So he sent me the key, and it found a whole lot of files that I didn't even know existed on this sometimes in way, way in the past. But I could not. And he says, if you want to send it here, we'll see what we can do. But I said, no, don't worry about it. But it's a nice program that will probably work nice on hard drives too.
I have one called Get Back in TFS that does that same sort of thing. It's pretty highly rated.
That's for hard drives, because I think when you format a flash drive, it doesn't give you option of NTFS. It's FAT32, and there's something extended FAT or something.
Well,
like
there's a get back NTFS and there's a get back FAT32.
Okay. Yeah, I used get files back. Yeah.
And it works pretty well. It can a lot of times read the drive whenever the computer cannot access it. I don't know how. It goes through some back door.
Well, I mean, it's still there. It's the only reason the computer cannot read it is because the FAT is gone. So it doesn't know where the files are. But if you go track by track, you can read and figure things out, I guess. And
hey guys, I gotta run.
What?
Time for me to run.
You're gonna run?
I have to go.
Walk. Be careful. Walk.
Yeah, walk, don't run.
I have to walk. I'll see you guys.
Have a good one.
All right, take care. You kind of wonder, Mike, remember your question to Mark, what's his name?
Arsenovich.
Yeah. It was, why doesn't Windows stop rootkits from getting in?
Yes.
So if there is a way to read a hard drive, even though the OS cannot do it, why don't they have something like this in Windows that you can say, hey, go ahead and read it?
Go ahead and read what now?
If the OS cannot read the hard drive,
right?
Why not have something built into Windows that can actually go and read it anyway?
Well, it's not a Windows issue.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
a
I
hardware
understand.
issue.
I understand.
Well, Linux is much better disk management utility operating system than Windows ever will be.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's why I like Terabyte Unlimited stuff. He's a Linux guy, and as far as I know, he knows everything there is to know about hard drives. The tools that this guy has, they just seem to work well. My only complaint with him is that they update them about every 2 months, so you got to always burn new disks and things like that. But I've done a lot of work with some of his stuff lately, making images, things like that, and it's good stuff. But he's got some tools called Part Info, Part INFW, Part INFG, and all W or whatever. That allow you to, they're just utilities you can run that will allow you to see all the inner workings of the hard drive. I had one of the computers I was playing with, I was trying to do something this past week and relocating some partitions. The long story is that I had a large hard drive without much data on it. I shrunk the partition to slightly larger than it needed to be to support everything that's in that partition. I then slid that partition to the end of the drive and made the partition inactive. All that did then was put a data-only partition at the end of the drive. The beginning of the drive had nothing on it. I restored a partition to that blank space from a drive that works on that computer. And what this allowed me to do is to configure this computer the way another one was, identical computer was configured, but I still had access to all of the data that was on the drive previously. It was drive D instead of originally it was C. I made the original drive C, drive D, inactive partition. Well, then I started playing around with partitions, and of course I got the drive to where it wouldn't boot. It would come up with HAL DLL not found. I did some thinking about it, looking into it, and I realized that once you move partitions around, the boot.ini file on the hard drive gets confused. And when I finally remembered that, I logged into it and noticed it was pointing to the wrong partition. It was pointing to partition 2. I changed it to partition 0 since it now had 3 partitions on the hard drive. Mm-hmm. Still wouldn't boot. Then I finally found a bunch of tools, went through some things. It fixed it, and it turns out if I had changed it to partition 1 instead of partition 0, it would have worked fine. So you can get into a lot of trouble messing around with hard drives. That hard drive architecture is very complicated. I mean, I'm looking at a site right now from Terabyte that will show you some of the garbage that you have to deal with. There we go.
I mean, yeah, it's a big deal, all that drive. I mean, remember that's what the whole computer is about. What's DOS stand for?
Yeah.
Disk operating system. Good. Do you all remember that Terry Childs guy, the network engineer in San Francisco that was laid off or fired, and he took the passwords, didn't want to give it back?
That happens all the time.
Yeah. Yep.
California appeals court upheld his conviction for violating California's computer crime law, including 4-year jail sentence and a $1.5 million of restitution. The ruling provides a good cautionary tale for anyone who thinks they can gain leverage over their employer or increase job security by controlling key passwords. Yeah, they got him, and they should have gotten him. And those of you for Christmas, Nintendo recently announced that it was ceasing all production of its original Wii video game console. It seemed as if it had run its course. Nintendo was shifting 100% of its focus to the floundering Wii U. Turns out the Japanese company had other plans, announcing that its previously Canada exclusive $99 Wii Mini is making its way to the US. The $99 price has been neglected in this product generation, but in the past it has been very successful price for game consoles. More than half of the volume of machines in the PlayStation and PlayStation 2 generations sold at the $99 or under prices. They're learning. Even a big company like that say, well, that's what we have to be. She's interesting. This machine here is running at a really high CPU.
Which one?
The Vid Blaster machine. I mean,
Oh.
I'm afraid it's going to blue screen. It's running at 95 and up.
Well, that's convenient. Let's just
Back
wind it
and
down
forth.
anyway. We're struggling.
Yeah, kind of slow today as far as chat room, as far as chat here even between us. Kind of slow. Although it's the traffic is on the site is not shabby.
There's just not a lot going on this week. I tell you what I did do. I had an interesting phone call. We have our TV in our great room is the big TV. We have DVR on that from Time Warner. And we decided we might want to add one to the bedroom. I called Time Warner and said, how much would it cost to add a DVR in a second DVR to our system? How much do you think it costs to add just a DVR to Time Warner TV?
$20 a month.
$7.50.
What do you think, Amnon?
I don't know.
That's not acceptable.
Nothing.
$24.
Jeez.
And I told the guy, I said, I said, that's almost an insult and a slap in the face. I said, at that kind of price, I can get 4 from satellite. Well, let me tell you about satellite. I said, don't open your mouth. I don't want to hear you disparage your competition because you guys have just priced yourselves out of the market.
If I could get an alternative service in my house, I would.
$24.
Yep.
A month. I don't get it.
Yep. Time for a media center or Plex server or something else.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, I mean, the reason we don't have more than one already is because we don't watch that much TV. My wife likes to watch some things that she just mostly has it on for background noise, but and you could take it out. I wouldn't care. I only watch about 2 over-the-air television shows. One of them being The Blacklist with James Spader, Monday nights at 10 on NBC. Can't believe I'm watching a show on NBC.
Yeah, Windows Media Center does a good job I can set it up to record shows that I want and save them to where I want to save them and watch them when I want to watch them.
Dr. John was mentioning about Uverse. My daughter, a couple of years ago, had Uverse. She was very happy with it. And that's where your TV comes in over your phone line, which she couldn't tell the difference. So it was cheaper. It had different selections than Time Warner. By the way, Time Warner has just updated their DVRs to include a new HD widescreen menu. And you may recall that they had updated their DVRs such that whenever you hit the stop, when you're on scan, you hit the stop button, it would immediately play where you hit the stop button instead of jumping back 5 seconds to get back to the beginning of what caused you to hit the play button. They have not only added that back in, they have even made it adjustable.
Yeah, it's called compensation.
Yeah, compensation.
Yep. And they have a feature like that on camcorders called back hitch, where you'd stop at a certain point on the tape and it would go back, rewind the tape so that it would actually start close to where you hit the stop button. Yeah, I'm glad it's back, and I'm still out the jury's still out on whether the other updates they've done, the way they organize the DVR now is in folders instead of by order. So it's a little confusing when you go into the folder. They list the latest show first, not the oldest show, which can be a little bit confusing.
That I can get used to that. I don't really care that much.
Yeah, as long as you know it. The first time in there, you may be surprised. I have 4 of that show, and it shows this date. That must be the oldest show. It's not. It's the newest show. So I tried to find if that was configurable, and I couldn't find it anywhere.
But this whole media center thing has always escaped me. And Dr. John says they no longer warn of recording conflicts. That's not good. But if you get a DVR, I just haven't had good luck using a media center because you can, if you have, at least at the moment with Time Warner in our community, you can tune to channel 5.1 and get the over-the-air HD stream as part of your regular service. Mm-hmm. You obviously don't get the higher numbered channels because they're digital and they require a converter box. But that would be more than satisfactory for what I want to do. But I even tried one. I even built one using, this was the day when dual core was the fastest you could get. And the video was always jumpy and not consistent.
Spence, didn't you use...
I did, and I had the same experience. I had tried a couple of different tuners. I actually had an HD tuner for a while. And every time I did it, Windows Media Center, the video was always choppy. So
I'm not going to buy an i7 for that.
You can, like I put in the chat, you can buy a DVR on eBay, and I'm sure even on Craigslist.
What kind of DVR?
For Time Warner. Heck, you can buy a box, a Time Warner box on eBay.
Yeah, but you can't. How can you authorize it? You can plug it into their network, but you're not going to be able to tune it into anything.
I don't know.
If it's not authorized on the network. Because you've got, if you notice now, the new DVRs actually have that SIM card.
Yeah, but actually, that's a thought, Vince, because if all it's going to do is access the same channels that you could access with a regular TV, that is the coaxial
No, I don't see any issue with that.
Maybe it would work because no authorization would be required.
Yep. No, there wouldn't be any problem with that. You're right.
Yeah, Dr. John RTP is talking about TiVo.
I've got the price we're paying right now. I hope they're not listening. The price we're paying for Time Warner Cable and Internet now, believe it or not, I think is fairly reasonable, which means I must be on some sort of plan. And I've started since I've started monitoring my internet usage because of whenever I blew a hole on what I'd been doing 2 months ago. If that bill goes up, I'm about at the point that they can just come get it. I just don't watch it, and maybe we could find a way to stream the shows that she likes because they're not exactly premium shows. There's got to be a way to cut the cord. I'm not big on
it'll
cutting
save
the
you
telephone
some money,
cord.
but don't think that it's going to save
I don't
a
even
lot.
care about that. I don't agree with the company at all. I don't like their strong arm tactics in politics. I mean, there's a lot I don't like about them. They're free to do what they want. That's their business. I just don't like supporting that. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Uverse. I wish somebody would try it and actually.
They're not any better. Not only that, but when I priced them, they were actually more expensive.
Yeah,
and I will tell you this. For anyone considering DirecTV, after my daughter told me about her DirecTV, how thrilled she was, like four DVRs. She records everything in the world, and she said the most she's been able to fill up the hard drive was 10%. The deal they cut was tremendous. I went into Costco right after that. They had a couple of really suede shoes dudes in there trying to sign people up on DirecTV. I went through his listing, asked what I would have to get the comparable package, and they were about $15 per month more than what I was paying. But that included all the DVRs I needed. I mean, wasn't an apples and apples comparison. At first the price was twice as much. And I looked him at the eye and I said, okay, now what's the rest of the story? Oh, well, by visiting Costco, by being a member, you get the special Costco pricing. So what I can do for you is, and he started writing down numbers, and I said, you're not there yet. Oh, okay.
What do you mean? Costco has a deal with Time Warner?
Yeah, they let these suede shoes, these snake oil salesmen, no, not Time Warner, DirecTV.
Oh.
They let these snake oil guys come in and use their floor space to sign people up.
Well, I don't know. There was Uverse sales, a pair of guys, a guy and a girl walking in the neighborhood. And they came in, they said, do you know about Uverse? I said, yeah, it's right over there. He said, do you have it? I said, no, I need more up speed. And he said, well, you know that we just, this was 2 months ago. You know, we just rolled out 6 megabit up in the Raleigh area. I said, really? He said, yeah, it's on the website. I couldn't find anything about it. No info. It still shows 3 is the most.
But you would qualify that because you're so close to the equipment.
But
every
they
time
don't even mention it anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I don't. As far as I'm concerned, the difference between 5 and 6 is pretty irrelevant.
Right. I mean, this is all just gimmicks. We're faster than Time Warner. And the Time Warner one, if you check your speed on regular basis, it's between 35 and 40. It's no longer 30 and 25.
Yeah, but that's with Turbo Boost.
I don't know that I have Turbo
Yeah.
Boost.
Yeah, it's Turbo Boost because what happens is it'll download at 50 or 60 for the first few seconds. Then it goes back down to 30, and then it averages higher than 30.
Oh, okay.
John is reporting that Sam's has a similar deal that Costco does. He got pricing there. He called DirecTV directly, got a better deal. He later complained, and they cut the price another $10 a month.
For how long? See, that's the trick with them is they say, okay, for 6 months you can have that. I said, no, I don't want that for 6 months. I want it forever. Oh, we can lower it by $7 for 6 months. And then what? Oh, yeah, well, then it goes back up.
Yeah, so don't want to deal.
I mean, go ahead.
I was just going to say, since we're talking about bandwidth, and I know we've had some previous discussions about hotel, motel bandwidth and that sort of thing. I don't. The other issue, and one that I'd like to address just briefly, is Wi-Fi hotspots in local venues in your town, most specifically coffee houses like Starbucks or mom and pop coffee houses and so forth. And I realize their main business is to sell coffee and sandwiches and that sort of thing. But part of doing business today is, offering free Wi-Fi, and it's difficult, I know, for crowded places to work on this. But, my favorite coffee house, which is the Muse Coffee Company here in Windhurst, has had Wi-Fi for some time. And when I first moved here, they had the typical Verizon DSL router in the back. And connection was always fine, even with college students in town. In fact, on Friday nights, I would live stream on Ustream, open mic night and different musical groups that they would have there. But internet's really gone bad. Right now, he has a system where he has the Verizon DSL router. Then that's Cat 5'd into a Cisco Linksys router, and then on the other side of the building, there's a Wi-Fi extender, and so the Verizon router is Muse Wi-Fi as the SSID. The Cisco Linux is the Cisco Linksys is Wi-Fi in the number 2, and then the extender is Wi-Fi Almond, and it doesn't matter which one of those you link into. It's just been horrible. So people have talked with the owner about it, and I mentioned this. I'll just read this briefly. It says, Brian is the owner of the Muse. I said, hi, Brian. I trust things are well with you and your family. Please don't misunderstand my feedback and concern, as I absolutely love the Muse. The coffee, community, staff, and menu are without equal. I love being able to leave my home office and come to the Muse to get lunch, breakfast, or just coffee and a snack and chill with that diversion. In addition, I'd get a little bit of work done, i.e. emails, handling various tasks for my team, etc. But the internet has become such an issue that instead of being a peaceful and relaxing experience, it's become stressful and frustrating. All around me, I see people either tethering off their phone, another hotspot device, or connecting to the cigar shop next door to get better bandwidth. I'm currently at Barnes & Noble sending this message as I couldn't stay this afternoon at the Muse. I don't really know what's changed over time to make what used to be solid, though minimal and sufficient, to what my experience is today. Anyway, I wanted to let you know I love you, appreciate you and your family, and a couple other closing comments that are more personal to him. So, my experience on Friday was just so bad again for the 4th time that week. And I'm thinking, gosh, I really don't want to go to Starbucks. It's, I don't like Starbucks coffee. So I go to Barnes & Noble's, and I'm on Barnes & Noble's ATT Wi-Fi, and there are all kinds of college students, any number of, I've got a program now. It's called, and maybe one of you guys mentioned it last week. I'm not sure. It's called Fing. And you open up the Fing app, and you can see all kinds of things that's going. You can see every device that's connected to whatever network that you're on. And Wi-Fi, with all these crowded conditions on AT&T Wi-Fi at Barnes & Noble's, I still had 3.5 down and a little over 3 up. And I realized, Barnes & Noble's, I don't know what kind of connection, the AT&T Wi-Fi is there. I know there was a news story a little while ago about Starbucks upping their game, and of course, it's a Barnes & Noble's, but they have a Starbucks place in there. So I don't know. It's just it's challenging for a small mom and pop business to offer free Wi-Fi and do it right with quality of service and this sort of thing.
Well, symmetrical service costs so much more. From a business perspective, you can get what is essentially residential service with relatively slow upload speeds. But if you want true symmetrical services like a service like a business would have, it's expensive.
Well, it's a mid-tier DSL connection that he has. So that means 3 down, 750K up, which would be the same. And a business would have the same connection, but they would pay more for it, as I understand. I don't think
they'd have more than 750 up.
I don't know.
I would expect they would have to, depending on what they're doing.
It would depend on how close you were to the CO and that sort of thing too.
Is it in the same area where the Barnes and Noble is?
No. But this is, it's in the same area where I owned a condo for 2 years.
No, what I mean is, you said they have Verizon and Barnes and Noble has AT&T.
Right, and I'm not so much comparing, the difference between Barnes and Nobles and here, but I'm just saying on the same connection at the same location with the same provider, the internet used to be much better than it is right now.
It could be he has a Wi-Fi issue.
Maybe he needs to reboot it.
Yeah, I mean, why would somebody have a Verizon DSL router, wireless router, Cat5'd into a Cisco Linksys, and extend it out to another device? I mean, does that seem the smartest way to do it? I mean, I don't know what he's trying to do. He used to work for a voice over IP company, so I'm sure he knows.
No, but there are reasons why, from a security perspective, you might want to daisy chain devices, but that's not the bottleneck.
But so daisy chaining devices wouldn't degrade quality in any way?
Not necessarily, because you're talking wire speed through those devices. You've got 100 meg connection. Most of those wireless routers, the router portion of it and the firewall portion of it are capable of doing 20, 30, 50 megabits per second.
Yeah, but there's sometimes, you go in there and there may be 10 laptops connected and sucking off this pipe, but, ping time sometime will be over 1,000 milliseconds. The bandwidth would be, 0.015 down or, that sort of thing. And then, of course, it's complicated when you got a college student over there streaming Netflix or things like that. And I think the staff has to monitor that sort of thing.
But Amnon's right to say that there could be other issues. He may need to just restart these devices, or he's got a wireless interference issue. He may have people on the same channel. And when you turn on a wireless router out of the box, it's either almost always channel 6 or 11, depending on, or some of them use frequency detection and all that. But the airwaves are so crowded now with devices that you could be just at the saturation point where you're never going to get good performance unless you're wired. So,
yeah, it's interesting. I use a program also called Wi-Fi Analyzer. And it gives you this neat little reading of all the things in your area. And you can check to see which channels are open and better. And if you'll see down across the bottom are the channel numbers. And, so you can choose a channel that would be better. I might next time I go by there, I might run this and do a screenshot and suggest maybe a channel change might be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And the
John,
the technology he's using too. It may be that his router is older, or the wire access point, the wireless radio part of it is older, and he just needs to upgrade to something newer.
That's true too.
So,
John in Florida is talking about that he's got 36 down and 22 up with Cox. That's nice.
Yeah, that. In the chat, Tech Zen TV saying use either channel 1, 6, or 11. Those are the only ones that are not on non-overlapping channels. That's why it's good to use. I typically set up for 1 because that's almost never the default. Because typically 6 and 11 are the ones that are default out of the box. But with the newer technologies, some of the new access points can actually look at and pick a channel based on how much interference there is.
All right.
That's where the term wireless comes from. The more you do away with the wire, the less productivity you have.
Good one, Spence. Wireless. No, I mean, Bruce, at home, I have the modem from the router from the modem from Time Warner. The router is Netgear, right by me, and then on another part of the house, I have an access point that is higher power because we couldn't get signal to the bedroom. I know there are the other things to do in the bedroom, but we like to have internet too. So it's fine to have that. It doesn't interfere with anything.
Yeah, I want to find that a link so I can share that that app because it's a really, really great app.
I have an app on my phone that does the same. I'm not sure what the name of it is, but it will interrogate the entire wireless spectrum and let you know who's on locally.
Mm-hmm.
Spence, if they switch to B and force it to B, or actually force it even to A, don't they get better?
Well, A is just it's 5 gigahertz, and the only reason A is better is because it's not used that much.
Right, that's what I mean. But I mean, it's still going to cover the whole area.
Yep.
And other
a lot
people-
of a lot of devices now have A. Well, what is it? What's the new standard? AD?
N. Oh,
No, N, above N. I mean, that's a new standard. I think it's AD. 802.11 AD.
if you force your network to A, will other devices, like in the next shop over, will they be able to discover it? Or you have
If they're capable of using A, yeah.
well, everything is capable, right?
Well, most like laptops, high-end laptops, or even regular laptops have dual radios in them.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
depends on the device. I think I'm trying to remember now. I think the iPad has a radio in it. I'm not sure. I remember being surprised. I don't know if it was with my MacBook or with my iPad, being able to see seeing other radios besides 2.4.
Oh, interesting. Mike is saying that A is not going as far as B.
Oh, and the higher the frequency, the less distance and penetration into structures. So, yeah, the lower the frequency, that's why some hospitals, for example, use 900 megahertz, which is essentially an abandoned frequency that used to be used for
Telephones.
portable phones.
Yeah.
Remember the first wireless phones for the home?
Right.
They were at 900 megahertz. And 900 megahertz, although it doesn't support the same speed and have the development with the algorithms to get high bandwidth across it, it goes a lot further. So for slow connections, low speed connections, 900 is more than enough. It's just that it was really designed, or it was optimized at the time. The devices were optimized for voice, digitized voice in a lot of cases. There was analog versions of it, but digital was where you got security on those phones.
Hey, Bruce, just tell your friend that owns that place that we have a system for him that will work great. It's called wireless mesh. Is that what it calls, Spence?
Wireless. Say the context again. I was reading the comments.
Isn't it wireless mesh? What is that system here?
Wireless. Oh, the thing that at your house.
Yeah.
Oh, it's an early version of trying to use one wireless technology as the backhaul for another wireless. It has a 2.4 gigahertz user access, and then the access point themselves are connected using 5 gigahertz. So you build the backbone using the A radio, and you actually provide service to the users. At the time, it was B, 802.11b. It was G came out towards the end of the product, but it was essentially all you needed was power. It was a weatherproof device that you'd put outside or indoors if you needed to, and you'd hang it there. And it had its own radio network that they would talk to each other. And then part of that was that you would use that network as the distribution for traffic from users. It was a great idea for places that didn't have right of way. So you wanted to put wireless in a stadium, for example, and you didn't want to wire up into the rafters. All you needed was power. Mm-hmm. So it was a good idea. The throughput wasn't all that great. It was kind of it came out of a guy's hobby project, and they said, oh, this is a good deal. And then installed a bunch of it in different places. I think there was a whole city up in New England. I don't remember which one it was that was using that technology. And then better stuff came along, and this didn't keep up.
Yeah, I've got a good friend of mine in Tech and Coffee, Robert Taylor, who is a network administrator and does a number of other things. But part of what he does is manage the Wi-Fi networks for all the Marriott properties in New Orleans, and is really familiar, of course, with access points and the different technologies and stuff like that. So we've had discussions about this same thing in Tech and Coffee Hangouts as well. So
it's interesting from that perspective when you get into the larger scale implementations. The pendulum has swung in different directions. First it was decentralized, and then it was centralized, and it was decentralized again, and where you can have like a central controller or a series of controllers like in the data center talking to a device that sits in a switch out in the closet that is in turn connected to a bunch of antennas. It used to be you put an access point in every location. Each one was a smart device in and of itself that had to be configured centrally. Then they came out with these kind of thin client access points that would receive all their brains from a central location where all the processing and all the traffic had to go back to a central point. So that if I wanted to talk to you and we were on the same access point, instead of us just doing a turnaround inside the access point, we had to go all the way back to the core of the network and then back out to that closet again for it to work. Then they said, well, we need to do a hybrid of that, where we actually allow local traffic to stay local, but extended traffic to go back to the network. So it got more and more and more complicated, plus security on top of that.
Yeah.
So from a corporate perspective, there's all kinds of options, and some good, some not.
Well, gentlemen, I'm fixing to have to check out of here. So,
Yeah,
As we all are.
Mhm.
We're gonna end up anyway. It's time. It's 12. All right. Anybody else want to make any comment or anything before we sign out?
Not to me.
No. All right. Spence.
I'll say goodbye.
Okay. Goodbye. Goodbye. Farewell.
Don't sing in.
So long, farewell.
So long.
Off we just saying goodbye.
Bruce, Mike, Spence, thanks, guys. Everybody in the chat. Andrew, Nick, probably watching the Steelers. That's it for today. So good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Kay, and Donna. Thank you, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Tonight, it's Carrie's Psychic Cafe. She's going to be in the studio. It's 8 o'clock. Tomorrow morning, it's Health In and Breaking Free. Oh, I wanted to mention that the Raleigh Veterans Day Parade was yesterday, actually. Too late for that. But let your vets and all you vets know that Golden Corral serves free meals from 4 till 9 on Monday, tomorrow, to active duty and veterans. So go out there, and I'm sure a lot of localities have parades tomorrow because it's a day off. See ya next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Sundays, 9 a.m. till noon. Carrie's Psychic Cafe with Carrie Silkowski, Sundays, 8 till 9 p.m. Health Inn with Debbie Bruck, Mondays, 11 a.m. till noon. Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Mondays, 1 till 2 p.m. Lessons of Vietnam with NCVBI members, the second and fourth Wednesday of each month from 7:30 till 8:30 p.m. Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, Wednesdays, 9 till 10 p.m. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by thatvidblasterguy.com, carolinaapparel.com, and deltaforce.net.